It's midweek, the 15th of October, 2025. Good morning to you. Welcome to the news on New Day. I am Noble Crosby Annan. This morning, lead suspect in Ahmed Swale murder case discharged for lack of evidence as government discontinues the case. Also, government approves release of over 1 billion cedis to settle outstanding salaries of teachers and other professionals. And government to bear cost of burial of victims of last weekend's boat disaster, as Vice President Professor Jane Opokwajiman urges residents living along the Volta Lake to wear life jackets when traveling on the lake. Welcome to the Bulletin. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. Let's settle for the details of the stories beginning from here. The Medina District Court has discharged the lead suspect in the murder of investigative journalist Ahmed Hassim Swale. Daniel Owusu-Kranting, an investigative journalist, had been charged with abetment of crime and murder in connection with the death. He pleaded not guilty and was on a 50,000 cedi bail. Lododo Asare has more in this report.
Daniel Owusu-Kranting was arraigned before the Medina District Court on March 19 following his arrest. Prosecution alleged that he led two other alleged culprits currently at large to the home of Ahmed Swale, where he was eventually shot and killed by unknown assailants. In court on Tuesday, October 14, prosecution led by Nanefua Bamfo informed the court that they had been directed by the Attorney General to discontinue the case. Following the prosecution's withdrawal, presiding judge Susan Nyakote then ordered that Daniel Owusu-Kranting be discharged and disposed of the case. Counsel for Owusu, led by Emma Jean Markin, expressed satisfaction at the development but chastised the prosecution.
I think that we were abandoning things that happened 2019, which is something that we cannot do in this matter. In 2019, when this issue happened, a lot of things happened. Several arrests have been made. Have we ever heard of anybody being paraded around the way Daniel Owusu-Kranting was paraded around? Has it ever been heard? But there have been several arrests. If there was more work done, like the way some media houses were saying FBI investigations, it would certainly not be pointing at my clients, because you would have known that the gentleman was all the time in the country.
She further disclosed that Daniel's mental health had been impacted by the case.
After the arrest and after his bail, he's even having to seek medical attention. He's had a lot of emotional trauma. It's not been easy, even for us as lawyers.
The Attorney General discontinued the case due to one, lack of sufficient evidence to continue the prosecution of Daniel. He indicated that the sketch which was available to the police did not match with the description of the lead suspect, Daniel Owusu-Kranting. Another thing that came up was that although his phone was pinged at the location where Ahmed Swale was killed, that is in itself is not enough for him to be prosecuted or held for his murder.
It remains to be seen what direction the murder trial of investigative journalist Ahmed Hussein Swale will take, as his assailants appear to be gone with the wind.
But away from the court, the minority in Parliament has kicked against assertions by the Health Minister that the past government is responsible for the high numbers of unpaid nurses and midwives in the country. Ranking member of the Health Committee, Dr. Ayuwa says a financial clearance was granted for over 15,000 health workers, criticizing government for what he describes as leadership failure. Christian Yali reports.
Nurses and midwives embarked on street protest for unpaid salaries. Their frustrations and agitations were laid bare, prompting widespread concerns. The health minister in a media engagement said government inherited a difficult situation but is working to right the wrongs of the past administration.
We inherited a situation where about 13,500 nurses and midwives had been recruited and posted without financial clearance. When a financial clearance is issued, you must necessarily migrate the health professionals onto the payroll before the expiration of the clearance. And so we had two options as government, whether to let all the 13,500 nurses and midwives go home. And the second option was to allow them to continue to work whilst we look at how we can get money to pay them.
But the minority would not have any of that, calling the minister's comment non-factual.
All those who the ministry recruited with regards to this clearance had their 5 months salaries from July, August, September, October. Now the difference is that the ministry was able to do its validations and they did it spot on. This clearance expired on the 31st December in item 7. Now in normal public administration and civil service of this country, financial clearances expire. Even under this government, they will have financial clearances expire and they will go for extension. They did not extend this for political reasons. And then 10 months down, they face an embarrassment where the students or the staff went on a public agitation, demonstration, to draw your mind to this clearance and the need for extension. Embarrassing enough, you are saying that you've taken it to cabinet for an approval. What sort of cabinet do you have to take for an approval when you have a clearance already?
The minority is saying that, see, they have been very reasonable over the period and seen to it that they would extend a goodwill, not to even the government of the day, but to the ordinary Ghanaian citizens who need healthcare facilities or services for their daily living. But they just realized that government is, in a way, making the whole situation political, for which reason they have seen the need to respond to this.
You're throwing that in the eyes of the people. So government created a mess. And they've seen 10 months, it's caught up on them, and they are fixing it. And that's when you take political decisions. You see, the minority, we are a reasonable minority. We cannot continue to be reasonable when you take the youth of this country for granted. The youth of this country matter, Ghanaians matter, nurses matter, and midwives also matter. Government should come and tell us that there was no clearance. There was, it expired. And they should tell us if indeed in public administration there has not been clearance which had expired and has been extended. It's not news. They should pay them now because the money was allocated. They should pay them now.
With the politics playing out and each side seeking to make their case, the stranded and frustrated health workers have only a wish that their salaries are paid and conditions made better. Christian Yali, TV3 News, Parliament.
Now, residents of Sumenya and Odumase are calling on the road ministry to urgently fix the Sumenya-Odumase Pong Road, which has deteriorated severely, making travel along the stretch difficult. According to the frustrated residents, a contractor began rehabilitation works just months before the last general elections, but abandoned the project shortly after the December polls.
In the early hours of today, the drip machines were on the road to fix some portion. You could see stones in some of the pothole, or what you could probably define as a manhole. Drivers, commuters, residents, youth, elderly in this community from Somanya, Odumase, Agomanya, by extension, Akuse says they need their road fixed. They says they've been shortchanged by regimes. The MPP, month to the election, had its contractors on the road, but after elections, the contractors were missing.
No, it's not rather fair to us because we have been talking about this road, not this year alone, last year, past previous years. And then they assure us that the road will be fixed. And then after the election, nothing is done, fake promises. And then a day before the demonstration, we see machines that are coming on the road. It's not fair. Shops are closed. Businesses are shutting down. Workers are being laid off because shops are closed. Businesses are not running.
Even first week in October, because we've already fixed a date for July to demonstrate for this road. But we've been rest assured that first week in October, the road will be fixed. We are in almost the second to third week. Nothing is going on. We are suffering. Okay, we are suffering. We can't open our shops. We can't cook at the road. See, when you want to buy food, the person will either tell you to come home, to come and buy. Because when they cook at home, they don't bring it there. They can't sell at the roadside. We are suffering. For me, I can't open my shop. If you open, who is coming to buy in this dust?
Why should it take so long? Yesterday, when there was one rain yesterday morning, Here was filled with water. We cannot cross the street, this simple street. And the more the big trucks are passing on, the more the ground is going down. You know that.
Here again, the Eastern Regional Minister, Rita Awase, promised the road will be fixed early this month of October, but it was not done. The youth have protested. They are demanding the road be fixed. By 60 days' time, if it is not fixed, they would return to the road to protest to ensure the road is fixed. Now, this is how critical the road is for them. We have 2 health facilities on the stretch, Atua Government Hospital and St. Martin's de Porres Catholic Hospital. All referrals are done on the stretch. And so if people delay on the stretch, it means that patients will delay and they might probably die on the stretch. Again, we have farmers who commute food produce and cut them from their villages to Koforidua and neighboring towns and regions as well. And so if the road is not constructed, they would be back on the road to demonstrate. They're asking government to fix the road and not give them promises because they have been voting for them for a long time and must have their share of the national cake. But unfortunately, the first phase of the big push list is out. They were not included. They are saying, in as much as they were not included means they were not remembered by the government, yet they do vote for them. They're asking that in the next 60 days, the road be fixed for them or they return to the road to protest what they demand, to protest their right. Yvonne Nikwe from Odumase, TV3 News.
Now, the Vice President, Professor Jane Nano Pokwajiman, has urged residents living along the Volta Lake to ensure the wearing of life jackets anytime they want to cross the lake. She has, on behalf of government, giving over 600 life jackets to the people. The Vice President was in Okuman, where a canoe capsized, resulting in the loss of lives, about 15 people, 11 of whom are children.
On Saturday, October 11, a wooden canoe capsized on the Volta Lake in the Kitikrachi district of the Oti region, killing 15 people, 11 of whom were children. They were said to be mourners from Boveme, a small fishing village, who had travelled to Okuman for a funeral. The Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman, on Tuesday visited the people in Kitikrachi to commiserate with them. She told the people they are not alone in this time of grief and assured them of government's support. Let us all support and work together to ensure this type of accident becomes a thing of the past. She asked them to always use the life jackets anytime they cross the river in order to save lives. The owners of canoes and other commercial transport leaders should always ensure people wear the life jackets. We will bring more of them to ensure everyone gets to use them. On behalf of government, she donated over 600 life jackets and other relief items to support the bereaved and affected persons.
Let's do some other stories this morning. And the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority has announced the suspension of all fines issued by its compliance team on roads across the country, effective Wednesday, October 15, 2025. The suspension will remain in place until further notice. And the move is coming after weeks of intensified enforcement by the DVLA's compliance team, aimed at ensuring that drivers and vehicles on Ghana's roads meet all legal and regulatory requirements. However, following public feedback and further internal consultations, the authority has decided to halt the exercise temporarily to allow for broader stakeholder engagement. Now, in a statement issued by the DVLA, it emphasized that while road safety remains a top priority. It recognizes the need for more public education on its responsibilities and consequences associated with non-compliance. The DVLA assured the public that the suspension is intended to create space for further discussions before reintroducing the compliance initiative. In the meantime, all drivers and vehicle owners are reminded to continue adhering to road safety laws and regulations. Moving on, government has approved the release of over 1 billion cedis to settle their outstanding salaries of some teachers and other professionals. Just a few weeks ago, the groups picketed at the Ministries of Education and Health in demand of over 8 months' salary arrears.
In response, the ministries promised swift action, and now the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, has confirmed that government has committed over 1 billion cedis to pay the affected workers.
So those 6,200 teachers, I think I can speak for both ministries in this matter. Cabinet gave the Minister of Finance approval to via budget and spend upon about 1.1 billion Ghana cedis to absorb a category of health workers and teachers. The process will start soon, and therefore no more picketing.
The Education Minister says he's confident the payment will bring calm and prevent further demonstrations at government offices. In a related development, Haruna Idrisu also highlighted Ghana's preparations to host the Association for the Development of Education in Africa ADIA conference. The event will bring together education experts from across Africa and beyond to deliberate on innovative solutions to challenges in the sector.
The triennial will provide an opportunity for participants to forge partnership that will accelerate learning outcomes for millions of African children and commit to actions. Ghana, with support from our partners, both the World Bank and the Global Partnership for Education, will send an improvement in out-of-school children being integrated back to school thanks to the intervention of Gallup and GEOP.
The ADIA conference is expected to position Ghana as a leader in educational policy dialogue on the African continent.
Away from that, residents of Krabwa Kota, a farming community in the Ayenswano district of the Eastern region, they are demanding an urgent and independent investigation into a shooting in January this year. The group, identifying itself as the Concerned People of Krabwa Kota, has petitioned the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice and allied institutions to intervene.
The concerned people of Krabwa Kota in the Eastern region of Ghana are calling on the Commission of Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, the Police Intelligence and Professional Standards Bureau, and the Office of the President to urgently intervene and investigate two major incidents that have left our community shaken, fearful, and seeking justice. Sometime in January 2025, a tragic shooting incident occurred in Krabwa, resulting in the loss of innocent lives and injuries to several residents. Despite public revelations, the main suspect remains uninvited or unarrested by the police. This has eroded confidence in the local police command. Our demands: a joint independent investigation by SHRAJ, PIPS, and the Ministry of National Security into both the January and October incidents. We wish to emphasize that our actions are peaceful, lawful, and grounded in our constitutional right to seek justice and protection from abuse of authority. We have lost confidence in the local police command, and therefore appeal directly to SHRAJ, PIPS, and the Presidency for immediate investigation. If no steps are taken within 14 days, the community will consider civil and legal action and may invite national and international human rights attention to the matter.
And before we go this morning, the Bank of Ghana has introduced a stricter sanction regime to curb the rising incidence of dark checks in the banking system. Under the new directive, individuals and businesses who issue bounce checks will face heavy financial penalties, be reported to credit bureaus, and risk being banned from issuing checks for up to 3 years.
The Bank of Ghana has revised its sanctioning regime on the issuance of DAT checks, warning that persistent offenders will face severe consequences. In a statement issued on Wednesday, October 14, the central bank said the decision follows a worrying rise in the number of bounced checks, which it described as undermining public confidence in check transactions. Under the new framework, customers who issue a DAT check for the first time will be fined 10% of the check's face value and placed under surveillance for at least 1 year. A second offense within the same year attracts a 15% penalty, while a third offense comes with a 20% levy and an automatic 3-year ban from issuing checks. Offenders will also be reported to credit reference bureaus and denied access to new loans for a year. The Bank of Ghana further warned that banks must recall all unused checkbooks from banned customers and report those who fail to return them. The central bank says it may publish a directory of high-risk check issuers to guide financial institutions and safeguard the integrity of Ghana's payment system.
Well, that's all time we'll allow for on this edition of the news on Newday, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. I'm Noble Crosby Annan. Enjoy the Wednesday. Good morning. Bye-bye.
Good morning, good morning. It's a wet Wednesday morning, and we're blessed to be alive and to be here in studios to present to you TV3 Newday, the #1 television morning show in the country. And we're praying that even though, you know, it's raining this morning, and we pray that everyone is safe, you don't get stuck in traffic, your car does not break down in the rain, because that's one of the worst things that can happen to you when you're driving in the rain. And for folks who have to commute to work via public transport, I hope that you don't get wet or caught in the rain, really.
Well, certainly. And so if you know that you're using one of those lanes or routes where we could describe those routes to be first class, it means that you have to be wary of the friction of your tires on that asphalt. Very important. We tend to be sometimes very careless as drivers on the road when it rains.
But also for the roads that easily get flooded. The Tetakwashi, Spanner, Spanner area. Yes, getting to Shuashi.
It hasn't been heavy, it just drizzles.
Okay, but you wouldn't know.
These drizzles can sometimes be very scary.
If they go on for 1 hour.
Constantly. Yeah. Because it started around, I noticed it around 4 a.m. and it's still drizzling. So let's just be careful out there.
Yes. So.
Well, we have
Did you guys call each other to wear brown?
And you as well.
Yeah.
No, my dress
that's actually a light. That's
you people didn't call me. But I think there's the same pattern in my scarf as your dress.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, it's true. Yeah.
Comparison of patterns.
And then the color, yes. And yesterday I was on the same level in terms of color.
So you guys don't call me.
Dress
coordinators.
I swear. But I think the shocking news yesterday was about the lead suspect, or the suspect for the Ahmed Hussein Swale's murder trial, who had been discharged by the court. And of course, it sent shockwaves across the media fraternity, if not internationally as well. You know, there's a case that the FBI had been deeply involved, especially because he was one of the lead investigators for Tiger IPI, of course, led by Anas Anas. And then all those utterances that were made by the aspiring presidential candidate of the MPP as well. And that's Kennedy Japan and all those. So it just brought a lot of memories to many Ghanaians. But you know, guys on a motorbike.
Just shot through his car. And to think it's been running since 2019, it's been 6 years until date.
No end in sight.
No end in sight. And, you know,
you get the acquittal of the guy.
The arrest, I think, was in March of Daniel Kranting. The family and people who spoke said that they were happy to see something that looked like progress. And then yesterday we heard that he had been discharged. And this case, I think we've all prayed as journalists, you know, to see the end of it, because when it happened in 2019, it raised a lot of questions, even about press freedom. You know, in the country. It's one of the talking points that people in international media and people all over who have been interested in the matter talked about, and we hoped that we'll see some end in sight.
And the fact that we need to be careful the kind of utterances we make. And I think it got to a point a lot of people were concerned about why the person who said that in the picture, like this is the picture and all of that, that person had not been held to account. And now the trial has gone on, like you just said. And then yesterday we hear that. So I think it's going to be hard, I mean, a very hard one for the family and also for those who are monitoring keenly, including ourselves, to ensure that there was justice at the end of the day. So.
You know, the issue of the picture, yesterday I was listening to the spokesperson of the family who said that if there are eyewitnesses who have been able to help the police to draw or sketch properly who they say they saw, who could have been the murderer, why have we not seen the sketch? It's one of the questions that came up from the spokesperson for the family yesterday speaking. I think our in-house counsel, Adam, was trying to explain that you cannot declare a sketch wanted. Like if you want to declare somebody wanted, you must know who you are declaring wanted. And a sketch can look like anybody in town. So if you put that sketch out, anybody can say, oh, this person looks like the sketch, and then it will just be so many people.
But we've seen that in other jurisdictions, and they've helped investigators. So it depends on how we're doing it and really how it's going to contribute to what we are gathering towards the investigation.
And I think that was exactly the spokesperson's point. That you have the sketch, put it out. The person might be my neighbor. The person might be someone we all know.
Yeah.
If we see the sketch, it will help. But I think you get into it further on big issues this morning. What else would you be discussing?
We will. And we also want to do a lot of recollection that led to the death and what the conversation has been. And then also steep that conversation in relation to press freedom in Ghana, the rest of Africa, etc. And you could clearly see that since those incidents leading to the death subsequently, Tiger IPI and then Anas Arimia Anas, and the pace of their work haven't been the same.
That's true.
Know?
Yes,
and
that's
so,
true.
And you know, sometimes you get, maybe you do something, somebody gives you a warning, just gives you a jolt to say that, look, you know, psychologically, I just need to make sure that I'm straight up there.
Yeah. But again, there's also, it seems that there's a new strategy in Anas working out his stuff, because he's working more with international media houses, doing other stuff, even outside of Ghana. So, well, perhaps, like Roland is saying, whatever he's doing could have been informed by what he's experienced so far in the course of his work in Ghana. Yes.
Well, we saw the question to you this morning on TV3 Newday. We heard yesterday that the Attorney General has discontinued the case against Daniel Koranting, who was an accused person in the murder of journalist Ahmed Swale. This murder happened in 2019, 6 years on. Daniel Koranting was at first a suspect. He was arrested in March. He was remanded. He was charged. But we have been told that the case has been discontinued, and he has now, been left to go home. And the family is unhappy, but then we also need to consider justice. The fact that a person is a suspect and has been remanded or has been arrested does not necessarily mean that they are in fact guilty of the offense that they have been charged with. And so if the Attorney General does not think that there is enough evidence to actually proceed with a full trial against him and has discharged him, how does it strike all of us, as Ghanaians who are keenly following this matter? Let us know what you think. The phone lines will be displayed on the screen in a moment. Also, you can cash out this morning, you know that. Dial star 439 hash. Select option 2 for TV3. And Roland, how much do we have today?
1,000
Ghana cedis going to 10 people.
10,000 cedis.
And the bonus?
Yeah, Roland is
That's actually what you went to.
Roland, Papa Roland is giving out bonuses today.
You people,
so we've got 300 cedis, 2,200 cedis. And on Friday, Roland is giving us a jackpot, the mega jackpot. Now, if you've never played...
these things people say, people take it seriously.
But we are serious, Roland, we're not joking. All right, so on Friday, there's a big jackpot. So we're building up to the jackpot today. Dial star 439 hash today. I've got 10,000 cedis.
Plus the
I'm
bonus
giving it to
from
10
Roland.
of you, 1,000 cedis each. And then Roland is also giving away 5 bonuses. So we've got 300 cedis and 200 cedis. Even if you don't win the 1,000 cedis, you could win a bonus of 200 cedis or 300 cedis this morning on the show. So please dial now. Let's do it together. Pick up your phone. Dial star 439 hash. Children are about to go to school. The price of chop boxes and trunks have gone up. Have they? Okay, I stand to be corrected. But every year they go up. So basically,
the price of things
you
are
need
going
that
up always.
little extra cushion this morning. Dial star 439 hash and get provisions money. All right? On the show. All right. Let's go to this morning now. Abandoning things that happened 2019, which is something that we cannot do in this matter. In 2019, when this issue happened, a lot of things happened. Several arrests have been made. Have we ever heard of anybody being paraded around the way Daniel Koranting was paraded around? Has it ever been heard? But there have been several arrests. If there was more work done, like the way some media houses were saying FBI investigations, it would certainly not be pointing at my clients, because you would have known that the gentleman was all the time in the country.
She further disclosed that
And that's lawyer for Daniel Koranting, the accused person in this matter, speaking after the discharge. Then she expressed mixed feelings, she said. On the one hand, this matter has dragged. She believes that a lot of things that happened should not have happened. Also, Daniel Kranting is said to have been friends with Ahmed Swale. So this has been very difficult on him and his mental health, she said. But let's take a look at the AG's advice, which led to the discontinuance of this case. The call records place the accused person's phone in the vicinity where the deceased was killed. However, the presence of the accused in the vicinity, based on his phone's location alone, is not sufficient to charge him with the murder of the deceased person. Though it is stated in the police report dated 30th of April 2025 that the accused was in the vicinity of the deceased on the day of the killing to monitor his movement, that remains an inference until further evidence is discovered. Additionally, none of the sketches of the assailants generated by the police based on the vivid descriptions of eyewitnesses resemble the accused person. Neither has the investigation established that the accused was one of the assailants who shot the deceased. All right. So this was the advice from the Attorney General's office, which led to the discontinuance of the case. And I mean, if you read this, Roland, I mean, you understand why the discontinuance. That your phone was in the vicinity. Is it sufficient?
Yeah.
Is it sufficient to pin you with a charge of murder?
Yeah.
That's actually
and it also speaks largely to the narrative about whether in the line of prosecution in courts and the long period of that prosecution, be it whether criminal or not, you have adduced enough evidence to be able to convince the court. And I think that the Attorney General, not only in this instant case, but the other ones also, is justified to say that, look, discontinue the case. Or perhaps I am not coming forward to defend again as a result of that. Once there's no defense from the prosecution, then the court can say that, look, I'm discharging the gentleman.
Yeah. But it's important to note, though, that it's just a discharge. It's not an acquittal. So should they find any further evidence?
Yeah.
It does not prevent this discontinuance. Is not a bar against re-arresting or re-investigating the same person. I think our first caller has joined us.
Yes, our first caller is on. Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on this morning segment on New Day. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Achu. I'm calling from Kumasi.
Hi, Achu. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're well today.
Yeah, I'm well. How are you too?
Please tell us what's on your mind.
Yes, in this case, always I've been saying that in this case, the one that showed the picture of Ahmed Swale, which is clearly Japan. When this thing happened, he was the one who's supposed to be the first to be arrested. Because if I give my picture to someone and that person use the picture to perpetrate any crime or whatever, that very person is supposed to be arrested first. Then the investigation can start from there. But if they leave that person and going around and arresting other people, other friends that maybe work with the person, I don't think that investigation can go on. That is what is happening now. Because if the Japan is there, whereby nothing is happening to him, so the case cannot go anywhere. That is what we are witnessing now. You see, so that is my point regarding Ahmed Swale case. Kennedy Japan is supposed to be arrested long time ago, after the killing of Ahmed Swale. You see, but these politicians, that is how they behave, because they have money, they can do everything. So when they perpetrate any crime, then they leave them going around and they pursue another innocent people.
Thank you very much for calling us from Kumasi in the Ashanti region. And please, when you call us, just be brief in your submissions. But thank you for your thoughts. I think he made a point about what we were talking earlier about, really, about how this whole thing started. The supposed instigation, as it were, that went out there. And the subsequent murder of this
And I think,
gentleman.
Roland, you asked Kennedy Japon this question once.
Yes,
when he came 2 years ago.
and he says that he only showed this picture and that there's no evidence linking him to the murder, which perhaps is trite in law, you can say, but once the prosecution has not been able to adduce that evidence, you can say that he's justified in his response so far.
Yeah. Let's pick another caller. Hello, good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, he's gone. So, Roland, I'm sure by now people are already expressing their mixed feelings.
I have a number of messages so far. This one is coming from Money Ni Money, lives in the UK. Good morning to you. Yemole Yemo, as well as Naafi Taki, and many of you who tend to share a stream. Now, he said, who was the recipient of the call? If he was in the vicinity, is a question, and Money Ni Money is asking this morning. And, well, this one also is coming from Guy G. Guy G says that all these narratives about Kenny Japon and then his concerns that he had expressed on television about the modus operandi of Tiger IPI, Anas Aremiyao and Ahmed Swale were right and should not be construed and linked to the murder of Ahmed Swale. Kenny Japon had said that individuals within Tiger IPI were blackmailing those they had filmed, and those were his concerns he expressed. All right. And I have Master Planner Jr. Master Planner Jr. says Dr. Mahmoud Baumia has begun his nationwide tour, and he is beginning in my region, Bono East. Master Planner Jr. is a policy analyst now.
Let's pick this caller. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us where you're calling us from, your name and what's on your mind today.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. We can hear you. Very well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing good. My name is Alhaji Abdullah. I'm calling from Kumasi.
Yes, please, Alhaji. Kindly go on.
Yes, yes, sir. You see, you are in this country. Sometimes you be there here all day, as if you cry, because this is a clear evidence. This shows Kennedy have to be investigated, but we leave him there, running around doing his things, and someone who is there who is somewhere. Let's take an example. If it is me, Alhaji Abdullah, and I have even set an example. I use my map to say, okay, you wait and see. And something happened to that fellow. What will be done to me? Even the word I've used, you live and see, and something just happened. Let's face the fact. What the security in this country will do to me. So that's the fact. God will judge us all. Whatever we do, Allah will judge us. So we didn't take it for granted as a obia or as a only comer for in peace. Obia only comer for Koibia na yama or that is. By obia said one hour and no so sell as a yinka that on the more.
Well, thank you very much, Alhaji, for calling in and sharing your thoughts with us. We have to go now to 3FM and 92.7. Jenny Hughes has started biting.
And surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. It's Wednesday, the 15th of October. Welcome to Johnny's Bite. Let me pause and say thank you to Sona Fashions in Tamale for my outfit, and you can reach him on 0246590162. That's 0246590162, and he will get something specially done for you as it does for me and Roland. And also thank you to all our trot drivers, our taxi drivers who also have introduced their riders or their clients to Johnny's Bite. Thank you drivers. Thank you motor riders. Thank you to all the bankers, the lawyers, the doctors, the engineers, the technicians, the plumbers, the masons, the carpenters, the food vendors, those who ride the school buses, and they've introduced the children and everybody else. Thank you very much. It's a national agenda, it's communal labor, and we are doing this together forever. Now, I want to talk and thank a gentleman who decided that he will put up a building, and the roofing is to the credit of the best media house you can find in the Republic of Ghana. Put it up there. I'm told it happened in Zebela, and he's roofed, and this is what it looks like. He loves TV3 to bits, and who doesn't love TV3? And by extension 3FM 92.7, and we want to celebrate it. Put a picture up there. That's it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And you can all be like this gentleman. We don't know his name yet, but we celebrate him and all those who also collaborated to get this done nicely. Charlie, this one there is a legacy building. I tell you what, it's a legacy building. That's TV3 Annex. TV3 Annex right there. And for those on radio, so this is a building, but the roofing has TV3 inscribed on it with a star. It's quite lovely, quite lovely. This morning, let me tell you about Rosebank International University College. They are here in Ghana from South Africa. They have all the necessary accreditation, and they run numerous programs that you should be interested in, and I will quickly guide you through. Let's put the images up there quickly so we can get to experience what the Rosebank International University, which is located here in Accra, Opebia, to be specific, is in the Opebia building, and you need to go there. It's a world-class university. It's in Ghana, finally. It's part of the Advtech Group, Africa's largest private education provider, with 146 schools across 5 African countries and over 100,000 learners, partly owned by the World Bank through the IFC. Rosebank International University is fully accredited by the South African Qualifications Authority, the British Accreditations Council, GTEC in Ghana City and Guild UK, and the Capsicum Culinary Studio. At Rosebank, what you get is they offer you a Doctor of Business Administration DBA, a Master of Business Administration, Master of Science, and Master of Philosophy in Digital Marketing, Bachelor of Supply Chain Management, targeting professionals in freight forwarding, customs, etc. They also have hospitality and culinary arts available at diploma, undergraduate, and postgraduate levels. They have ICT, BSc Information Technology and Business Systems, and IT Computer Application Development, all carefully designed just for you. And you can visit them at www.riuc.edu.gh, www.riuc.edu.gh. You're calling from outside Ghana, prefix your number with +233 307 007 800. That's +233 307 007 800. Or if you're in Ghana, that's 0307 007 800. That's 0307 007 800. And they inspire excellence. I call them the adult Montessori. Apply today. You can pass by the campus and have an experience of what it looks like, and you'll be marveled at the global ready programs, expert-led lectures, and the teachers that are there. Very welcoming, a very conducive atmosphere, and you can always pass by. Admissions are open now for January 2026. So don't lose guard. Don't go and choose some Bojua school and then come complaining later if you don't thrive globally. We want you to excel, and that's why we're telling you about these things. Now, having spoken to you about Rosebank, let's talk about, yesterday I introduced you to a book, The Bogus Informant, by the legendary KB Quanson, former director of NACOC, or NACOB as it was then. He set it up. It's the former commissioner of police, former head of the BNI, former national security coordinator, and many other things. He's a security man. Now, he said something in 2003 that struck a chord yesterday as I read one of his books. He says, national security. The country is divided, regrettably. Society is polarized, very unfortunately. Our politics has increasingly become acrimonious, negative, and therefore unproductive. Over the years, our approach to national issues has been riddled with and undermined by blind political fanaticism and cheap tribal chauvinism. The pursuit of stomach politics has promoted a dark culture of sycophancy and opportunism. Decency, integrity, and honesty are drying up. Some of us would say anything, support anything, and do anything so long as that will reap us personal dividends. It really would not matter how ridiculous, how bizarre, and how senseless that position is. The national interest has been brutalized by these negative tendencies. I take it again. The country is divided, regrettably. Society is polarized, very unfortunately. Our politics has increasingly become acrimonious, negative, and therefore unproductive. Over the years, your approach to national issues has been riddled with and undermined by blind political fanaticism and cheap tribal chauvinism. The pursuit of stomach politics has promoted a dark culture of sycophancy and opportunism. Decency, integrity, and honesty are drying up. Some of us would say anything, support anything, and do anything so long as that will reap us personal dividends. It really would not matter how ridiculous, how bizarre, and how senseless that position is. The national interest has been brutalized by these negative tendencies. I want to relate it to the death of my late colleague Ahmed Hussein Swale, investigative journalist who worked with Tiger IP, and yesterday I learned with a lot of shock and pain that the Medina District Court has discharged lead suspect in the alleged killing of Ahmed Swale after Attorney General discontinued the case. The question we want to ask the Attorney General this morning is why? We were in this country when Ahmed Swale and his boss Anas Aremeya Anas, and now OSP, who was his lawyer for Anas Aremeya Anas, and all the people who worked with them, doing some great work, exposing a lot of rot in this country. Rot that you and I did not know about. Rot that the BBC thought that the talent of put Swale's picture there. Don't put my face there. I'm not Swale. Rot that you would never have known about. Rot that even the BBC thought it was necessary to collaborate with Anas Aremeya Anas to go around the African continent and many other places to go and bring you exposés, all in furtherance of our development as a people. To be in the know, right? So that we'll be in the know. Then we had a sitting member of parliament who later became the chairman of the defense committee in parliament. He sat on national television and asked the public to beat Ahmed Swale anytime they saw him. Not long after, he died. He was shot, even under witness protection, under the direction of the Ghana Police Service and under the court. He died. Today, we are told that the lead suspect in the alleged killing of Ahmed Swale has been, let go because the Attorney General discontinued the case. We'll read the response of the Attorney General. But can somebody remind me at any point when that MP who now wants to become president, was he ever invited by the police to come and answer questions regarding Ahmed Swale's death? Was he ever invited as a person of interest or whatever it is that the lawyers call it to come and answer just a few questions? He wants to lead us. I have nothing against him personally, but he wants to lead us. And leadership is cause, all else is effect. Was he ever invited, or were the police afraid of him? Never mind that he was in court insulting a judge in open court. Never mind. That one, I don't want to talk about it. I'm talking about my colleague. World Press Freedom Index. We had people, and see what I read from the legendary KB Kwansing is what people defended when we were dropping on the World Press Freedom Index. We had people in suit and tie, educated people who had practiced as journalists in this country before, defending rubbish. They were defending rubbish because of politicization and polarization and all the things that the great KB Kwansing spoke about. We have polarized the nation. So somebody's father, somebody's breadwinner, somebody's son, somebody's uncle, he's dead. He's been killed like a chicken. And you have people who defend it. As if his life doesn't matter. People are being picked up left, right, center for making utterances. Way less than what was made. Who invited who? We were in this country where my good friend A+ said, look, he can tell us how these murders happened. He went to the police. What happened after that? He went to give information freely. What happened after that? Bring me the Attorney General's response. Let's read it together, just to be fair. The call records place the accused person's phone in the vicinity where the deceased was killed. However, the presence of the accused in the vicinity based on his phone's location alone is not sufficient to charge him with the murder of the deceased. Though it is stated in the police report dated 30th April 2025 that the accused was in the vicinity of the deceased on the day of the killing to monitor his movement, that remains an inference until further evidence is discovered. Additionally, none of the sketches of the assailants generated by the police based on the vivid descriptions of eyewitnesses resemble the accused person. Neither has the investigation established that the accused was one of the assailants who shot the deceased. Neither has the investigation established that the accused was the one of the assailants who shot the deceased, although the accused person could be an abettor. There must be adequate evidence to show that he was in the vicinity to abet the murder of the deceased. The evidence presented to this office is, therefore, not sufficient to charge the accused person with abetment to murder and murder. This is the Attorney General. This is what they took to court based on what the police had given to him. So Ahmed Swale, come to me. Ahmed Swale goes to add on to JB Danko Edu, whose death has not been fixed. Goes on to add to Hayford Kwanzaa, whose death has not been identified. Reverend Abemado, Openia Dade, and many, there's a plethora, Roger Kumsik, plethora of them, cold cases. But I tell you that I have lived in this country. When Kweku Ninja and Tola were killed in Ablekuma, policemen were killed in Ablekuma and buried underwater, our police, they found them. The 3 Takrady girls who were killed and kept in a manhole were found. If the police wants to find, they will find. More so when he was under witness protection. Does it put the life of journalists at risk? Yes. I want to hear my GJ, we condemn, and certain things, blah, 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 toothlessness. No. I actually want to hear real stuff. Because this will become a threat to investigative journalism. It will be. I put Ahmed Swale's photo there again. And I'm asking the police. Somebody sat on national TV, showed Ahmed Swale's photo, and invited the public to beat him wherever they saw him. Put his photo there. Somebody sat on national TV. A member of parliament who demands to be called honorable, who now wants to lead us as president. He sat on national TV and instructed the public he will pay. I've had my own share of whatever it is from him. But it's not about me. Did the police ever have the gonads of steel? Because if I did that here now and said, wherever you see Kuzo Tiani, I put his picture, wherever you see him, catch him, beat him, I'll pay, the police will come for me in 2 seconds. Did the police have the balls? Let me not use gonads of steel so it sounds. Did they have the balls to invite him just for a second? To say, oh, come, honorable, come. This thing that you said, this person is under witness protection. Come, let's have a did the police think about it? Did they try? They should come and tell us. Did they try? Did they try? If they tried, what happened? Did they update us? And why did that not find presence then? Why was the person was not in court as a witness? This pick and choose thing, and I've been giving the police their flowers lately, but this has infuriated me so much. It has infuriated me so much. So we now live in an animal farm where some are more equal than some, or what? Go back to KB Kwansin thing. Then we'll read the court document. It says the country is divided. Listen carefully. Now put it in context. Regrettably, society is polarized. Very unfortunately. Our politics has increasingly become acrimonious, negative, and therefore unproductive. Over the years, our approach to national issues has been riddled with and undermined by blind political fanaticism and cheap tribal chauvinism. You see why some are calling for the leadership of the police not to be chosen by political leadership, but for us to have an independent commission that will then determine who leads the police. Because if you are appointed by political leadership, same things that Dr. Ben Agojo said, his promotion was delayed, he was kicked out of the police, he was literally humiliated because he made this point. Today his glory has been given to him belatedly. But we know in this country that the political class have a hold. And if you're a security person in the political class, is 10 left, about 10, right 10, left 10, keep still, show dead arms, present arms, or dead arms, then you are doing it like some zombie. You become like fella zombie. Unfortunately, there are many who will not cave in, but many people cave in. Many security people cave in. To the point where you have a corporal telling a chief superintendent that the impudence and disrespect. My father says, if you don't respect the man, respect the rank and the uniform. Corporal to chief superintendent. He knows that it is being videoed. He didn't care less. That is how we have reduced it to. Take me back. The pursuit of stomach politics has promoted a dark culture of sycophancy and opportunism. Decency, integrity, and honesty are drying up. Some of us would say anything, support anything, and do anything so long as that will reap us personal dividends. It really would not matter how ridiculous, how bizarre, and how senseless that position is. The national interest has been brutalized by these negative tendencies. KB Kwansin, 2003. Find me the DVLA's documents, please. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority announces to the general public that effective tomorrow, October 15, that's today, 2025, all activities of the compliance team in relation to fines on our roads are suspended till further notice. The compliance enforcement exercise, which was intensified and carried out on our roads to promote regulatory compliance, was aimed at ensuring that vehicles and drivers adhere to legal requirements to be on our roads. However, the authority, upon further consultation and feedback from the public, announces the suspension of this activity in order to allow for an extended engagement on the matter before reintroducing the compliance team on our roads. Although committed to ensuring safety on our roads, we equally appreciate the fact that the general public must be adequately educated to fully appreciate the responsibilities approved, unapproved conducts on our roads can come with. The general public is specifically informed that this exercise is in relation to the fees and charges that were being enforced by the compliance team. This press release does not in any way suspend the legal requirements for drivers and vehicles to use our roads. Thank you, DVLA. DVLA, good morning to you, Mr. Nikwe Logas. You should have done this public education before you rolled out this compliance. That's the first one. Number two, those whose monies have been collected, would they be refunded? Number three, you are asking us to be good citizens, to have the legal requirements and everything to be on the roads. Have you seen the roads? Have you seen the potholes? Have you seen the absence of traffic lights? Have you seen the absence of street lights? Have you seen the absence of road markings? Have you seen all the things that are going on? I agree with you if you want to arrest the aboboyas and some of the rickety trotros and some of the reckless drivers. I agree with you. Because some of them drive as if they are headless chickens. Some of the motor riders, oh man, too bad. They ride anyhow. Some of the trotros don't also have traffic indicators. They want to turn left and they stretch out their hand. Whether you are ready or not, they are moving out. They don't care, whatever happens. So if you want to arrest those people, fine. But there are also those who have done everything, ticked every box, and the roads are messing up their vehicles. How are you taking care of those people? It's a question that you must answer. Take me to fire service, please, quickly. We'll end with a court document. Show me the letter, please, from the Ghana National Fire Service. I want to read the letter that yesterday came. Quickly, Kuzo. I want to read the letter that came yesterday. And yesterday I read a letter from the Ghana National Fire Service for you, demanding that recruits and officer cadets and even those in service pay a certain amount. Now, this is the letter. It's dated the 9th of October to all regional fire officers. It says, due to funding challenges, recruits, cadets, and existing personnel who went for training were made to pay something to subsidize their feeding costs for the period of their training. The attached list of personnel are officer, cadets, and other ranks who still owe feeding fees. They owe feeding fees. It's not school feeding program, by the way. The list has been grouped into two categories. Appendix A contains the list of personnel who still owe but will be deducted from their accounts directly by their various banks. And B contains the list of personnel who to make cash payments for the amount owed. Payments can be made at the salaries office headquarters or directly paid into the service account below. It's stated there. Now, find me the prospectus. There are two prospectus, one for the officer cadet and one for the one for enlistment, one for recruitment, one for the other ranks. Now, yesterday I spent time perusing the prospectus of the Ghana National Fire Service. If you want to go and serve, this is for officer cadet. It talks about a pair of this white t-shirt. I mean, regular things that they would demand of the three or more. A pair of plain white socks, three or more. A pair of black socks. Put the document up there, please. Pair of plain white sneakers, Okambu 2, metal bucket, size 32. It lists all these things. Find me the recruits one as well. It said nowhere in this document about feeding fee. It didn't say anything. This is the prospectus also for the other ranks, right? And we don't have too much time, so I can't go through it. But a large size black kiwi shoe polish and a brush, pair of black shoe for church service, pair of soup bowl and flat plate. Put the document up. Pair of soup bowl and black plate. And then cutlery sets, blanket, white plain singlet, and suitcase, and then a white pillowcase. All of those ones. Now, show me the legislative instrument. Put the legislative instrument out. The legislative instrument that guides the Ghana National Fire Service. LI 2415. LI 2415. Now go up. I want to read the portion that talks about training and feeding. Thank you. Section 31. Recruitment and enlistment into the service. It says a person is eligible for recruitment and enlistment into the service if that person A is a citizen, B possesses the requisite qualifications determined by the scheme of service, C has been convicted of has not been convicted of an offense involving moral turpitude, honesty, or fraud, and D has not been dismissed from any other employment. A person eligible for recruitment or enlistment into the service shall be required to pass a pre-recruitment and pre-enlistment medical examination. 3. A recruit or an enlisted personnel or person is entitled to the following without cost to that recruit or enlisted person during the period of training. Listen. 3. It says, section 31(3). It says a recruit or an enlisted person is entitled to the following without cost to that recruit or enlisted person during the period of training: A, accommodation; B, medical care; C, meals, that is food, feeding. Now, I want to ask the Ghana National Fire Service, which law is enabling them to be asking either recruits or officer cadets to be paying something small for feeding? Because I know that there has to be financial clearance before they begin the training. And that's why yesterday I called on the Interior Minister that there are questions to be asked. And the answers must be provided. It is not fair that people buy their forms, they go through their own medical test and whatever it is before they come to you. They buy all the things that I've stated here in their prospectus. And when they finish, they come to you, tell them that they have to pay to feed themselves. I don't get it. Was it the government that told you? Shadrach, hold on for me, please. Was it the government that told you that they don't have money? Was it the government that mentioned that? Look, find me that court document. Let's wrap up with the court document. Shadrach, give me 2 minutes, please. Go up to the facts of the case. This is relative to the National Service Scheme. Now, this is relative to the former boss, the executive director of the National Service Scheme, Mr. Osei Entry. Go up. Let's quickly read this and go away. Now, we're talking about how much. Yesterday, we mentioned some 38 million, yeah? Now, today we are mentioning, 38 million. Now, count 14. Causing financial loss contrary to Section 179A of the Criminal Offences Act 1960. Particulars of offence. Osei Entry, former executive director, NSA, on or about 14th of May 2024, willfully caused financial loss of 22 million Ghana cedis belonging to the National Service Authority by authorizing the withdrawal of the said amount from the project account number 101-863-154-2212 for the Kumewu Farm project without expending on the project. There's a portion on ghost names. I'm interested. So these monies were withdrawn. It was for the Kumewu Farm project, but the monies were not used for the project. Where is the money? That's what the Attorney General is finding. Now, it says that stealing and contrary to Section 124(1) of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, a sexual offence. It says Osei Entry, former executive director of the NSA, on or about 11th of September 2023, in the Greater Accra region, dishonestly appropriated the sum of 516,000 Ghana cedis belonging to the National Service Authority. There's count 4. Stealing contrary to Section 124, still 1960, Act 29. Osei Entry, former executive director of the NSA, on or about 26th of October 2023 in the Greater Accra region, directly, dishonestly appropriated. We've read this already, Kuzo. I want to see the ghost names portion, Kuzo. There's a 60,000 ghost names list that the Attorney General says that Mr. Osei Entry actually engaged in. And that cost us how much? If every national service person was even getting, 500,000, 500 cedis times 60,000 ghost names, that's a whopping one. And you ask yourself, is Ghana really broke? Is Ghana really broke? Yesterday, somebody was asking me to ask my ADB bank, my own ADB bank, where I keep my small coins that I'm paid. Said I should ask them how was the loan acquired and how is the loan being paid back, for example. He asked me to ask, how is the loan being paid back? And what method did they use? And the quality assurance team at ADB, what levels of work did they do? If they could beat Gibbs and the machine and the software, really? Now listen, Osei Entry, former executive director, NSA, between August 2021 and February 2025, willfully caused financial loss of 500,861,744 Ghana cedis and 2 pesos. 500,861,744 744 Ghana cedis and 2 pesos belonging to the National Service Authority by authorizing payments of allowances to in excess of 60,000 non-existent ghost National Service personnel. We spent money to launch a software. We bragged about it. It was left by Dr. Digital. He told us that the software was going to be able to help us to stop ghost names generation. Now the Attorney General is telling us that the software was the same thing that was used to generate the ghost names. 60,000 ghost names for one person. His deputy got about 10,000 ghost names, 9,934 ghost names. So these ghosts, do they come from Awudome? Or do they come from Osu Cemetery? Or do they come from Gethsemane? Or where do they come from? Or they return into this world when they leave? Here ends my sermon. Please call me.
Well, we hope that you did enjoy that music coming from DSL. And, the good thing about Media General TV3 is churning out great talent from their great reality shows. You would also know this weekend, that will be this Sunday, is the finale for Ghana's Most Beautiful. And I know that the one who will be winning will be rewarded handsomely. There's an EV car available that will go to that great winner. Subsequently, that would also mean that the others will get consolation prizes. But just in case you've been following through the whole season, it's just 100 Ghana cedis for you to be at the venue, the National Theatre Live, on Sunday. I tell you, you have to make sure that you're there before the crowd and the way they tend to gather peak. All right. It'll also be shown live right here on TV3 and across social media streams of TV3 as well as 3 News. But look, we also have cash out. It goes with Shoko star 439#. I can already see a number of you on the streams who seem to be enjoying cash out sometimes. So 1,000 Ghana cedis will be going to 10 people. Today we have an array of some of the best political analysts as well as politicians from the 2 major political parties, MPP and NDC, as well as the disappointed members of the MPP who decided to defect to form a new movement. So we have the gang of 3 right here in the studio. And so we'll be talking about some important issues, and relevant will be the subject of Ahmed Swale. We know that now the main suspect has now been discharged by the court. But what does it speak about press freedom and all the things? We'll do some recollection so far. And then there's a subject matter that the TUC has been on, and it's about Galamsey. And this time they're giving the warnings again. You'll remember, during the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia-led government, they alongside the UTAG, as well as whether it's NAT, even NAGRAT, among many of those unions, decided to put excessive pressure on that government, and they seem also to be towing the same line again. They say that they're likely to undertake some actions or protests thereof, but are they justified? If they are justified, why are those reasons? Well, helping us in the studio, I have Beatrice Anamfio. It's been a while I've seen her though, but no problem. Beatrice, you're looking beautiful.
Thank you.
And glowing as well.
Thank you. I'm just wearing bright colors, but right. Don't exaggerate it.
Right. And then Dr. Joshua Jebuntie Zato is the Sisala East man. He's also a lecturer with the University of Ghana. Indeed, has contested as the MPP parliamentary candidate at the time. But Chinya, is it Chinya Isahaku? He won subsequently as well. But Dr. Jebuntie Zato is a regular on Wednesdays as well as sometimes on Key Points. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Good morning, Roland.
Great.
Nice to be here.
Great. And then, of course, the president and then also chair for the Common Sense family of Ghana, the disappointed MPP man, but with a movement for change. He doesn't like me referring him as that. You say you're having Solomon Usu, a new party outdoor.
Very important.
What would that be?
Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, sharp.
Yeah.
The new party will be adored. I had promised you.
Will be led by Alan Kojo Chairman.
It's a political party.
Okay.
So tomorrow you will be unveiling interim executives. As for the flag bearer, we are yet to get there. But it promises to be full of action. This is a party ready to save this country.
Great. If I was leading the 3 News editorial team this morning, will be Alan John Kojo Chairman to lead a new political movement.
It's a political party.
Okay, a new political party out of the movement for change.
Yes, the movement
is that a good headline?
No. The movement is transitioning into a fully fledged political party.
Okay. Alan John Kojo Chairman leading a movement for change to transition into a political party. Is that a good headline?
That would be a good headline. And I'm sure your editors must pick it up tomorrow, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
But we are expecting you there. Expecting you there. And inviting all progressive-minded journalists to come.
Okay, send me an invitation.
Of course, officially I'm inviting you.
All right, that'll be fine. And then also for all those who have joined us on our stream, we're grateful that you have. Please share the stream. It promises to be exciting. We have some great people. I see Neodate Mills and bro, up in Finland. We have a lot of people watching us from the diaspora. And then, of course, Ruben Esiedu is putting on some scam messages, and Agongo Roja is complaining about that as well. And so, all of you, Inshiraba Keofori, Raskotuka, Shaibu, Mohammed, and all of you, please share the stream. Let's have. But about the subject matter of Ahmed Swale, etc., let's do some recall. Gentleman to the Ghanaian public killed him. That's the accusation.
See, with all due respect to you, you journalists in this country, about 80%, 90%, you are the people going to destroy this country.
How so?
Yeah, because you misconstrue people's ideas. Whatever the person puts out there, the import of what the person puts out there, you never even analyze it. You only take just a second of a statement made out of the whole statement, let's say 8 minutes. You take about 30 seconds.
What were you trying to describe in that video?
Yeah, and I still maintain it, because I will not come here today and tell you that I want to be president and therefore what is the truth, I'll say is not the truth. It is. He's a bad guy, or he was. And let me tell you, if you don't have the evidence, Anas used him.
How did he use him?
Good. All those people that Anas destroyed with his videos and everything, Anas never showed his face, except this guy. This guy was bold to set everybody up. I have a lot of videos. Gentlemen, if you have time and you come to my house, I'll show you all the videos. There's not, with the exception of the Ivorian videos that I have, that you see Anas's face after the interview with the Ivorian ministers that he was entrapping. All the entrapment, it was Ahmed Swale who was sitting down with some fake Arabs who were saying that they were from the family of Sheikh Atani. So until a video comes out, you will never know that is Anas. But you know that...
Second, Japan. This is called undercover reporting. And undercover reporting, sometimes there are simulations that are undertaken to make sure you test the character of the person. To get the best out of the person, try to make a conclusion and a story. It's not wrong.
But you say undercover.
It has given you the image that you don't love journalists.
I don't care.
You discriminate against journalists, even though you employ some.
I employ people like you. And how would I say, would you say that I don't like them?
Not when you issue threats to them.
How do I issue threats? You think you are the only human being who have blood in you because you're a journalist? I'm afraid I don't believe in that. Because this man, if you know the number of people that have been killed, if you know the number of people that have lost their jobs, we have to be fair to all those families that Anas and Ahmed Swale set them up. You see, you didn't let me finish. It was Ahmed Swale, you are talking about undercover.
Yes, undercover.
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 So why didn't he, Ahmed Swale, also cover himself?
Because
he
it's
was
undercover.
there. No, you are saying undercover, but Ahmed Swale was there physically. Call Kwesi Nyantechi, he will tell you. Call Edubuahin, he will tell you. Call these ministers.
So why did you expose a gentleman to the Ghanaian public? Ultimately, the accusation is that it got him killed.
How did he get him killed? His own deeds killed him, not me.
All right.
What I said was that the first video I showed, you see why I have a problem with some journalists and you think I don't have it. There are a series of videos. You've taken only this one. The first one, when I mentioned Ahmed Swale, my workers came to me, oh, Honorable, you don't know this guy. This guy has been here for school fees. You gave him 1,500 cedis to go and pay his school fees. And I said, I don't know him. So they said, oh, he has been coming here all the time. So the first video, then I said, this guy is a bad guy. If he comes here, beat him up.
Subsequently, he was killed. And the main suspect has now been discharged. That's the latest. Now, we'll tell you what the court said and the position. I don't know whether it's the position of the AG. It looked like, because the court says that the AG has dismissed the case or has made a decision to discontinue the case, so to speak. And we also know that based on the advice of the AG's office, and remember this is all the advice of the AG's office, the call records place the accused person's phone in the vicinity where the deceased was killed. However, the presence of the accused in the vicinity based on his phone's location alone, according to the court, was not sufficient to charge him with the murder of the deceased. Though it is stated in the police report that the accused was in the vicinity of the deceased on the day of the killing to monitor his movement, that also remains an inference until further evidence is discovered or adduced. Additionally, none of the sketches of the assailants generated by the police, based on the vivid descriptions of eyewitnesses, resembled the accused person. Neither has the investigation established that the accused was one of the assailants who shot the deceased. Remember, the assailants who shot the deceased were on a motorbike. Neither also has the investigation established that the accused was one of the assailants who shot the deceased, and that also repeated subsequently as well. Now, although the accused person could be an abettor, there must be adequate evidence to show that he was in the vicinity to abet the murder of the deceased. And the evidence presented to the office is indicating that this could not be sufficient enough to charge the accused person with the abetment to murder and murder in itself. Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Roland. I think that this is it's not a very interesting development if you ask me, but as a lawyer from where I sit, I can understand what is happening. It's not enough that you go to court with something that is not so weighty, especially when the offense or the charge is murder, because then you have the maximum sentence to be imposed. And I think that they haven't even done so much, and over the years, they've been going back and forth. And while we talk about this, it brings me very bad memory of where we have come from as a country.
How do you mean?
I feel, and I mean not to remind the families of Ahmed Swale of their pain and everything, but I made the point yesterday that today we are enjoying a certain refreshing environment when it comes to governance. Today, when I look at when I listen to radio stations and watch TV stations, journalists have the right to express editorial opinions without fear or favor, without having to fear for their lives. And while I say this, I sadly recount some of the cases like Kaka, who had to lose his life. Why? Because he expressed an opinion. And you have so many, in recent past, you have tags storming media houses, or MPP tags storming media houses. You had governments being the enablers. And even the video you played, Kennedy Ejapon himself, who is the front runner, I tip him to win over Dr. Bawumia.
You tip him to win over?
Yes. I think that he would be within the MPP, maybe a more credible candidate than Dr.
I'm not too sure.
But we'll come.
Dr. Jabuti Zato will agree with you.
Yes. I know he's about me, but we'll come to that. And some of the very unguarded statements they made merely because they had access to screens and microphones and practically put the lives of people at risk. Today, the then MPP government went to court without any solid evidence, without conducting the right investigation. And I've been reading a number of things from the spouse, from the families of Ahmed Swale. It's not a good thing. And I spoke to the Attorney General yesterday, And he assured me that he was going to pay attention to the case.
You mean Dr. Dominic Ayeni himself?
Dr. Dominic Ayeni himself. He assured me that he was going to pay attention to the case. He assured me that he was going to make sure that whatever needs to be corrected is corrected. Because what happens is that normally the Attorney General gives a fiat to state prosecutors, I mean police prosecutors, to do some of these things, especially when it's at the district level. And so when it escalated to his desk, he would do something about it. And I encourage the Attorney General that we shouldn't let this case just go like that. We must bring the perpetrators to justice, because we cannot continue to allow the MPP to create the impression that it is okay for journalists to be attacked. We cannot continue to build a society where we think that it is fine for people not to have dissenting opinion. I have been doing a lot of media appearances, and one of the questions one of your sister station asked me was that Dumelevo is a member of your government. He has expressed a contrary opinion. And I made a certain point forcefully that over the past 8 years, we lived in an environment that was practically gagged. And so people are not used to the fact that even within the same party, even within the same team, dissenting opinions should be allowed. And that merely because you dissented does not mean that you disapprove. If you listen to some of the unprintable words that the MPP are using on themselves, have you seen the 16 sins of Dr. Baumia?
16 sins?
16 sins. He only had 16. Brian Champon had 10. Kennedy Japan had 10. But as
you mean their internal presidential
primary? If you look at how...
Well, somebody will say that's internal.
Yes, that's internal. But it's a micro reflection of what they will do when they are given power. Because even amongst themselves, I'm here with my party person, Dr. Samiaye. He's my friend. When we have disagreements internally, we should not be insulting ourselves using unprintable words. Why? Because we have a common opponent to fight. So if we cannot tolerate our views, if we cannot agree to disagree, if we cannot have a very we cannot exercise some restraint in our discussion, we can imagine what we'll do when we have power. These guys, when they had power, you could not, they say who born dog? You could not even express a contrary opinion. You are not even allowed to investigate corruption. In the past NDC government, you saw Manasseh, and I'll say it, and Manasseh disagrees with me in some of the stories he made about a confirmed flying and whatever. Those stories were very baseless, like the Ford expedition and all that. He is on record to have said that even the NDC government asked for protection for him because we recognize how sometimes the base will react. In the MPP, today we are having to discuss Ahmed Swale. What was the crime of Ahmed Swale? What was his offense? That as an undercover journalist, he was part of a team that was uncovering a rot. And somehow, a possible flag bearer of the MPP was not happy with him. Or that some members of the MPP were not happy and displayed his picture on TV, asking people to do what they think they want to do to him. He lost his life. And I want
he said that he
I want to hear Dr. Zato on this. I really want to hear Dr. Zato on this. Because I want to know what possible defense, when some of these things happen,
the accusation you're making this pointedly is that within the MPP period,
a lot happened.
There was a culture of silence, or perceived culture of silence?
It was not perceived. It was actually a real culture of silence, not just culture of silence. It is as if your freedom of speech is guaranteed, but your freedom after speech was not guaranteed. And so you could speak because you may not know what will be the action or inaction of government, but after you speak, is that not the same government that the likes of Solomon Owusu and the people left because their dissenting opinions were not welcomed? And so if the likes of Alan Shermanton and very big fishes could leave the MPP because they said that the country was headed in the wrong direction, let's do the right thing. Even then, they dealt with them. You saw how Afoku, who is a member of the MPP internally, was dealt with. Afoko was kept in prison. Sometimes I don't even want to mention the Afoko. One day when I went to a client at BNI and I saw Afoko, I had to bow my head in shame. And today...
Paul Afoko?
Yes.
Or Gregory Afoko?
Gregory Afoko. As for Paul Afoko and Kwabere Japan, what happened to them? At least they should be thankful that they are not behind bars or they don't have acid bath. They've not been bathed in acid. They should be grateful. The MPP consistently have demonstrated that they are not a political party that understand the tenets of democracy. And so it is so sad that today we have to be discussing Ahmed Swale and the fact that the state prosecutors have had to discontinue the case. Because it means that even at the time they were going to court, Godfrey Dami was going to court, he had not put, things well. How were we expecting Godfrey Dami to investigate your second flag bearer, potential, what's his name? Kennedy Japan. How were we expecting them within the same party? How were we expecting them to conduct a very thorough investigation? And so I'm very optimistic, and I want to follow this case and encourage Dr. Ayeni that we have to bring justice and we have to bring some closure to the families of Ahmed Swale, not just Ahmed Swale. When we talk about these things, we can link them to electoral violence. 8 people who lost their lives. It was as if under the MPP, it was just not the macroeconomic issues, our lives, our liberties, and everything. Today, it feels so refreshing. It feels so refreshing waking up and knowing that you can express your opinion, you can come and say anything, and you will walk out and you don't have to look back, you don't have to do anything.
Let us wrap up for
It is just something that I want to say that if you look at how things are going, the NDC may not be perfect. The NDC may not claim perfection. But when we come here to discuss some of these things, even the discussion of Ahmed Swale should remind us of how never to allow a party like the NPP to be in charge of the country. There must be a formidable opposition. We welcome that they will put pressure on us. But I think they do not know how to handle power. They do not know how to handle dissenting opinion. And I pray that what happened to Ahmed Swale should never happen to any journalist. And I also want to encourage the media houses. When some of these things happen, please don't let us discuss them only when there are some of these things happening. You must engage in a consistent campaign so that all political parties will sit up and know that there will be repercussions if you attack journalists.
All right. And if you remember, we all did as media. And Dr. Zato, the narrative Beatrice and Theo is trying to paint today is that was a siege mentality. You couldn't have made commentary if you're a journalist, so to speak, and then even within the public space and go scot-free. And the murder, brutally, of Ahmed Swale, and subsequently we see where we are today, is testament to that atmosphere that was created. You dispute that, don't you?
Good morning to you. This morning, I want to extend my deepest condolences to the family of Ahmed Swale, and to his colleagues and the people that care a lot about him. He's dead. The Muslims say that they will have to wish him Jannah to his fathers. And I hope I've pronounced it very well. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Now, before I delve into the specific Ahmed Swale case,
you have a question.
It's important to address some of the issues that have come up because they are important.
Like what?
They're important here. What we've just heard from Honorable Beatrice here is hypocrisy on steroids. What we've just heard is this early morning
hypocrisy
is
on steroids?
Hypocrisy pro max. Look, the NDC has been power for just 10 months. One, Abronye DC is a Ghanaian. Say whether you like him or not. This man was put in prison just 10 months. Do you think today, if you ask Abronye DC, he will tell you that everything in this country is honky-doky, president? Do you think he will say that?
Is it Abronye?
This is Abronye.
Is it Abronye who was queried by the MPP because of what he said?
Abronye was put in police cells for a misdemeanor. I'm not a lawyer, she is. For the misdemeanor, this man spent his life. Look, people, almost every Ghanaian you know came out to appeal against why he was being kept for that. You think today, if you ask Abroja, he will tell you that this whole country just honky press freedom. Joy FM came out with this to do a documentary. It was called Dear John Mahama. Pressure came from senior members of government forcing, compelling Joy FM to change both the picture and the name because it was about the president.
Told you that? Because it will be aired today.
Yes, pressure came on Joy FM to change that headline today. In this era of press freedom, that this hoax of a press freedom you're talking about.
Pressure?
Particularly, Musa Dakwa did
who put the pressure on Joy?
Senior members of the NDC. Musa Dakwa did a research. Musa Dakwa is a seasoned, is a pollster. He did a poll. Senior members of the NDC came out and told Musa Dakwa that it's too early to do that research. They attacked him. Musa Dakwa has to cry out to say that even under the MPP, he did a lot of polls. Nobody in the MPP ever called him not to do research. That was Musa Dakwa. Mr. Ahoy had to call into Metro TV to chastise a journalist for daring to discuss NDC internal polls. We can go on and on about this. That's just 10 years. So if all these things are happening, you see, it just happened that all this are happening to members who happen to be NPP. In spite of all these things, if you now come to sit here and now you are trying to tell the whole world that forget, there's nothing to see here, everything is honky-dory, everything is cool, then it tells you that you are there is a mismatch. You are living in an alternative universe that doesn't bear real truth, because all these people, this is I've talked about, they've happened in the 8 months. In the 8 months with the government honeymoon. Do you know what happened by this year next time?
Dr. Zato,
yes.
Dr. Zato, do you say that Atu Ahoy calling into the Metro TV program and then also reacting to what Paul Adumotre was saying and the subject matter thereof is equitable or could be equal to putting a journalist's photo on air and making utterances ultimately, whether they influence or not, his death is the same?
What I'm saying is that this idea, this idea, this concept that all of a sudden we've just woken up to everywhere, the whole media is free, everything is free. It's a lie.
It's a lie.
It's a big hoax and it's a lie. No, these infractions happen. And in fact, sometimes they get worse as the governments get older. That is if you look at everything about it, they happen. And they happen because sometimes the journalists or the people themselves may go across the line or something happen. The idea then that all these things are new in the MPP and only happen in the MPP, but then they will not happen in the ADC, is wrong. So let me now go to the substantive case. When this issue happened, we politicized it. Not only do we politicize it, we over-politicized it. And then the whole country, we engage in what I would refer to as a tunnel vision. Everybody came to the conclusion that Ahmed Suarez was murdered because of his work with Tiger Eye. There was just conclusion. So much so that it was then believed that the people who murdered Ahmed Suarez were the people he was trying to expose or he had exposed. Invariably, because the people he was exposing were government officials, senior government officials, then it meant that the government had killed him. When you engage in this kind of tunnel vision, you close or you avoid yourself from looking at what we call alternative explanations, from looking at other possible scenarios. And that is what we ran with. So much so the senior opposition members promised the whole world and the whole country that when they come into power, they will find the killers of Ahmed Suarez. That when they come to power, they will find...
Who did that?
Who did that? There's a story here from GNA. GNA, 28th November 2020.
That will find the killers
at 3:34 p.m. The headline is, NDC administration will bring Ahmed Suarez killers to justice. They were quoting His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana. It's a GNA story. Do
you think the manner in which he was killed was fair? And so there has to be
there's no murder that is fair. There can be no murder that is fair. There can be no killing that is fair. But the point I'm making is this, if you let me do, is this tunnel vision we all got into. Because we all just assume that because he was doing work that may be against government officials, that those government officials killed him. And because those government officials killed him, those same government officials could not, or the state could not be depended upon to bring his killers to justice. So the only way he can get justice is if the government is out of power and a new administration comes, then that new administration, because
the government just came to power.
Yes, they just came to, again, that's the point I'm making. Now you came to power, you now review the evidence, you took the gas course, and the gas is so my question then is that.
In relation to that, and then also trying to justify or not whether there was a culture of silence.
I've not tried to justify anything.
Okay. The Press Freedom Index is a good indicator.
Yes, yes, it is.
And by 2022, we had dropped sharply.
2022?
Yeah. To 60 to 60 to 66.
Yes.
Subsequently, even by 22, so to speak.
Yes.
And then that had been a concern for everybody else. You don't think that's a concern?
It's a concern. I'm not saying it's not concern.
Because you're a political scientist.
Yes, right? I've just told you. I'm not saying it's not concern. I've told you. I've explained.
So what are you saying?
I've explained that this idea. Yes, there were infractions on the journalists. There were some media freedoms rights were trampled upon. I've agreed. I'm not saying that did not happen.
Okay, so you do agree. I do agree that it happened. You do agree. There's a correlation between the index falling sharply or us doing poorly as a country, and then also Ahmed Swale's murder amid other infractions committed against you.
No, I have no evidence to draw that correlation at all. Okay. Absolutely not. But the point I'm making is that it happened, yes. I'm not saying that the media was perfect, everything was, no, the way first happened. But the point I'm now making is that we are seeing similar things right now, this early in the administration. 10 months into the administration, we are seeing similar things. And I'm telling you that to the extent of even trying to gag a pollster, an academic, to the extent of telling a whole media house that don't publish the story that you want to publish. I am saying that this is early days yet. But you are seeing the ugly head of this thing rearing up. So if you then sit down, and in fact, a fair analysis would be to say that, look, we've seen it has happened before, and we are beginning to see signs of it. As a country, collectively, we have a duty and a responsibility to make sure that it doesn't happen, to make sure that the Press Freedom Index rises and improves, to make sure that we've got a right to do that. But if the impression you are trying to create is that it was bad here, but all of a sudden, just because of the change is saying something magical has happened, all of it just that's not true, that's not fair, and that's hypocritical. Okay. The point here, the final what I want to say is that, look, we need to move away from this tunnel vision approach of just thinking that political opponents or enemies had a hand in this guy's murder. We need to move away from that. If I will advise anybody investigating, I will say it is time to investigate by two administrations. And they found absolutely no evidence to link anybody to the murder. But somebody did murder this gentleman. With that, his family and this person needs justice. My point is that it's time for us to begin to look at new theories. It's time for us to look at
tunnel vision theory.
We shall abandon that.
Okay.
It's time for us to begin to look at new routes. It's time for us to look for new theories. It's time for us to look for new explanations. In other words, it's time for us to sit back and say, is it possible this has absolutely nothing to do with politics? Is it possible this has absolutely nothing to do with the work he was doing? Right. Is it possible that there are other explanations? Unless or until we do that, if we continue this rat hole that we are in, two administrations have now cleared us certain, we will never bring justice to the man. But his family demands justice, he deserves justice, and the laws of natural justice demand that as a country, as a state, we bring those who killed this young man to justice. We can only do that if we take the political shackles out of our eyes and begin to treat this as any other crime and then allow the police, the investigators, the free hand to do it. Because see, if we keep doubling this as a criminal thing, then we are forcing the police to fill the narrative. If we create this narrative, then all we are simply telling them that fill the gaps in the narrative.
That is just a normal crime.
Exactly. So we should just let them treat as a normal murder, as a normal crime. Then they are free to explore all the theories and bring their killers to justice.
And it's good that he keeps mentioning theories, because if you tend to follow his narratives as a lecturer, he tends to also back his arguments with theories. And could there be any correlation, knowing that there's a certain culture of you not being able to express yourself without getting any retributive reaction within the period of the MPP administration, ultimately culminating in a key political stakeholder, a member of parliament, subsequently intending to become a presidential candidate of the governing party at the time, making these inferences, making these gestures. Of course, no evidence has been adduced that he was responsible for it. At the end of the day, it could influence opinion or not.
Roland, it could. And I'm here listening to my brother Zato complain about politicization of such issues. And he himself ended up doing the very politics that he's accusing Beatrice of doing, or former administration of having done, which does not augur well for our political discourse. When I heard Kennedy Japan do what he did, in terms of calling out Ahmed Swale, I wasn't happy. Because no matter how you disagree with anybody, you cannot court hatred for the person. Yes, there is no evidence that it was Kennedy Japan that killed him. The police has not established that. But let me say that some of these things, the Ghana Police Service is the institution that is letting us down. And they cannot convince me sitting down here that Ghana as a small country, Accra as a very small city, something of this sort happens, and you tell me since 2019 you have not gotten closer to the murderers. That cannot be something I'll be proud of. Remember, you were in this country in 1998 when Osu Setreke and Ninja, you remember the Taekwondo guy and
the police officer who was buried
exactly, together with Jerry Wonu Tola. They were killed, buried, but the police administration was able to establish where he was. The two were buried. The Ghana Police Service, if they want to be professional, they will be professional. Some of these things, in their own interest, they sit on it. You must call them out. We have had an MP in this country, J.B. Edu, what's the name? J.B. Dankwa, killed like a chicken. And as we speak, we don't know the perpetrator of that heinous crime. What are you talking about? If people like this are dying and we cannot apprehend the culprits, then, Roland, what happens to some of us? Because every day we are on television doing advocacy, doing activism. Then, because you said something that is not good for you anyway, death is one, you can do whatever. But the point is that when you are not able to assure the public that something of this sort, the police administration will be able to go closer into it and then get the culprits arrested, then it does not assure any confidence. But let me deal with certain specifics. You see, nobody must attempt to paint the Akufo-Addo administration as being. Azuri had to run for his dear life, run away from this country. Why not in this country? Look,
Manasseh
Azuri had to run away. Erastus Asaredonko, he has been doing all this galamsey, what do you call it? Exposés. Go and ask him the sort of threats he received under the New Patriotic Party. Look, pundits, panelists, they were doing a program on UTV, United Television. There was an entertainment program on Saturday. We had NPP youth who invaded a live show to scatter everything. Why not in this country? Why not in this country? So when we are saying some of these things, we must not try to enter into the realm of politics. The institutions must work. You see, I've had a problem with some of these investigations. Remember in 2007, Samuel Lenin, he was the president of the Ashanti region, GJ. He was murdered in cold blood like that.
Samuel Lenin.
Lenin. Like joke. As we speak, we don't even know the perpetrators of this act. I find it very disturbing that in this country that everybody is a gossiper. That whatever you do, they will gossip. I've told you that if you take out Ethiopia, we are the next gossip, a country that gossips than any country.
They are gossips, yeah.
So how wouldn't you be able to apprehend the culprits?
So you're saying if the police want to do their work,
they know the killers, they must go for them. Whose interests are they protecting?
Now let me ask you a substantive question. Do you think there was a culture of silence or there was a siege atmosphere?
Yes.
In your ability to be able to express yourself?
Yes.
Whether you're a journalist or a public speaker, etc., within the last administration?
No, there was.
Comparable to this?
There was a huge one. Even within the parties, remember 80 people or 88 people said that the former finance minister had to be booted out of office. Go and ask what happened to them. Haven't you heard Andy Appiah say there was an attempt to poison him?
95.
They moved to
peace.
Then peace. Within their own party.
Your former party?
I've left, so now I don't want to. You want to refer me as former party, that tomorrow my party is coming. Please cease referring me to former party. I have moved on.
I apologize.
But the truth of the matter is that I wasn't safe. That is why most of the men in that party became timid, became women in that party. And so when I hear them speak today, some of them speak today, I cringe. I say, where were you in the last 8 years? Look, in the last 8 years, a journalist by name Bismarck Brown, they organized Meet the Press at the Jubilee House. This guy, think he was doing his journalistic business as usual, went and asked a fundamental question about the Ministry of Health. He was hunted out of where he was working. Later on, he found himself hopping from one radio station to the other in Kumasi. Go and see, listen to what happened to the family. Things have happened in this country.
Bismarck Brown.
Bismarck Brown, you can call him.
BB.
BB. Because the president of the day didn't like the sort of question that was asked. And as though the questions were already planted to journalists, that question became a strange question per arrangement. So the president was like, how can you, who are you to come and ask that question? After that, working with a thinker, he suffered. So the truth of the matter is that it has not been better, but we have to improve upon it. We need to cause our police institution to be professional. They know the killers, and I still insist they know them. If they were able to identify a corpse, a dead body that was buried beneath the earth without their knowledge, then they have no business telling me that they do not know the killers of Ahmed Swale, especially when we are told by our witness that even the guy that shot, he had to do a kissing, a goodbye kiss to the dead body. Haven't you read their report?
You mean shot and then?
Yes, he said shot and then. I have never seen someone before that the guy is so happy that he has been able to kill a human being. It means there could be vivid description of the culprit. So how did they get it wrong by going to arrest a wrong culprit when you have the image of the person that has been described? Are you trying to throw dust into the eyes of the people? So they have to come again. I'm not too sure this ends the case. They must rather go back, do what is right. The police administration must speak the truth. Tell us who was behind it, and not just that. Any murder that happens in this country, it must not affect big fishes in society, but any ordinary person or people that we consider as non-entities, they must be of interest to the people, so that when everyone can be working in this country with confidence, not fearing anything that happens.
Because nobody is above the law.
The law is the law.
Martin Kpebu is a legal practitioner. He's on the line. Good morning to you, Mr. Kpebu. Mr. Kpebu. Mr. Kpebu.
Yes, good morning. Yes, morning.
And I do understand from Beatrice, who is a legal practitioner as well, says discharge is not acquittal. So it means that the AG can reopen this case anytime, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, under our law, that is it. If a person is discharged simpliciter, then it means that the case has not been dealt with on its merits. That is simply put, the court go into the case proper. The court didn't investigate the case, right? Sometimes, yes, the investigations can begin, but it doesn't get to the point where I call it point of no return. If it doesn't get to that point, maybe you can even call 5-7 witnesses. But if the prosecution has not closed this case and the case has to come to an end, they will still say discharge, meaning that the court hasn't gotten to that threshold. But if, let's say, the prosecution closes this case, that one, they cannot say discharge. Of course, there's always a right to enter nolle prosequi before the judge rules. But that's not what we are dealing with here. Just to keep it simple here, the court has not gone into the merits of the case. The court has not listened to the witnesses. There are people who said it is Mr. Akranti who was behind it. The court has not heard them. So once the court has not heard them and has to cancel the case, the AG said that they will cancel the case because of the insufficient evidence. Then that's it. Anytime they find the right evidence, they can return, and then the case will be heard.
All right. Now, subsequently, there's been a big debate on the platform, right here, I mean, whether it's from Jabunti Zato, PhD, to Beatrice, to Solomon, a pointed debate about whether there was a culture of strangulation in relation to how to air your own opinion in the environment which was governed by the MPP in the last administration. What's your own take on that before I let you go?
Oh, that one. Yeah, let me use this legal term, but we like using it colloquially. We say res ipsa. Res ipsa, meaning the matter speaks for itself. It's the MPP that have to come and explain. No, it was so rampant. It was obvious that we're living under a culture of silence. I remember even Sam Jonah had to come in. You know, when the culture of silence was getting to its peak, Sam Jonah had to come in. And then, you know, it erupted another round of discussions and debates here and there. Sam Jonah, yes, he came in and delivered a speech and said, look, he sees the return of the culture of silence, okay? And generally, a lot of people spoke up. You remember, so me, today, as I said, you know, every Saturday when I appear on the key points, Saturday morning on TV3, I single out a few people and then allow them for speaking out when we had a culture of silence. I usually mention Sophie Kufu, the former Chief Justice, whom I have nicknamed Yas Antoine. Then we named Dom Ahini. He used to also speak, notwithstanding that he's a chief, he used to speak against the ills in the Kufuor government. Then we mentioned Tobe Afede, the chief Awumefia of Asogli State, Abobo Mefia of Asogli State, etc. You say, and then Kentucky Teku the second, also asking for justice in the Cecilia Adapa matter. Cecilia Adapa, who had millions of dollars and Ghana cedis in her home, that she cannot explain how she got that money, right? So there was a culture of silence. And if we want to be scientific, earlier on you referred to the Press Freedom Index. As far as I can remember, for the 8 years that Kufuor was in government, it's only 2 years that he did well compared to the previous JEA Mills and John Mahama administration. Yes, you can check the record. For the 8 years, what his best year was 2018. That was when we even celebrated the World Press Freedom Day in Ghana. We were #1 in Africa, I think, for that year, 2018. And that was it. After that, you know, Ahmed Swale died in 2019. And then we went
But
down,
Mr. Kwebu, within the MPP period, you were talking left, right, center. Nobody stopped you.
Yes, I'm coming to that. But you know, my name is Kwebu. You don't understand what Kwebu means. The spirits are different. The spirits are different, you know. So when you have a few people, so you see, the spirits, when I say the spirits are different, so I'm a man of courage, extra courage. But the average man didn't find that space. It had to take people of extraordinary courage.
Okay.
So that's not freedom of speech. There's a culture of silence.
All right, thank you.
It's when the average man can speak, then you say, yes, there's freedom of speech.
Thank you. Mr. Kwebu, I wish you all the best for the day.
You're welcome.
Fantastic man so far. And Beatrice, the Trade Union Congress, they're on government's case.
But I think you should oblige me.
Yes, but I'll ask the question. The Trade Union Congress is on the case of government. They say just like they did for MPP, they're also going to perhaps protest in so many ways, the way they do it, over the subject matter of Galamsey and how it's been dealt with by government.
Okay,
so I'll oblige you maybe some 2 minutes. I know you take 3 or 4.
Yes. But I have to first respond to some of the things that Dr. Zato has mentioned. So to Dr. Zato, let me say that maybe you may not see it, but the greatest evidence of the freedom of speech and the fresh air, and even the freedom after speech that we are enjoying in Ghana is you, Dr. Zato. Because Dr. Zato can shout, say a lot of things, and after the show, nobody comes after him. The story of Manasseh and Bibi, they were not even shouting, but they did not have the right environment. So it cannot be hypocrisy on steroids. And Dr. Dazo is a PhD holder. He cannot tell me that when people conduct research, like the Musa Dankwa polls that he referred to, and the opinion is that it may be too early for you to conduct research, that amounts to attacking academic freedom. My goodness, that cannot be the case. And again, the issue of somebody changing headlines, Roland, I expected you to put him to some proof and explain to him that sometimes even editors will get editorial policies wrong. I worked with the Enquirer newspaper when I was in the university. And when you do a story and it is brought to your attention that you did not get these right, sometimes the media houses are so humble, they either put the story down.
Well, this week there was an apology that was given to
the sports minister. They either pull the story down, or they issue an apology, or they do a retraction. That cannot be somebody oppressing. Dr. Zato, maybe you were not around under the MPP government. I don't know whether Dr. Zato was on your show, but some of the richest people in this country, like Sam Jonah, who is not a Cadbury member, said that there was a culture of silence. But why are we even going far? Professor Frimpong Boateng. Professor Frimpong Boateng.
What did he do?
When he authored a report on MPP members who were engaged in Galamsey, look at what happened to Professor Frimpong Boateng. In your own party. In your own party. Professor Frimpong Boateng is not an NDC Cadbury member. Then he says, oh, please, let's get serious with discussions. If you want to equalize when the NDC government has done something wrong, Dr. Zato, come stronger. Come with very solid, and I have consistently maintained that the President Mahama presidency you are experiencing, for which reason we are committed to major macroeconomic stabilities that your Baumia could not give the people of Ghana. We also welcome very dissenting opinions. And so when you are trying to counter a murder case, at a time when we are discussing a life lost, you are comparing it to Musa Dankwa's research that people said is too early, and this is the rebuttal. At a time when we are talking and people are in pains about some of the things that happened to them. My friend Caleb Kuda, what was his crime? Because he wanted to film something as a journalist, ended up with the NIB. And when you have to equalize, you are saying that change of headlines. I mean, we should not do this to ourselves. Sometimes I don't know whether you bring him here as a member of the MPP or as an objective person. Because when I'm dealing with him, I don't know whether to deal with him as an objective person or a member of the MPP. But if he's a member of the MPP, no, I think I've seen his pictures where he's a member of the MPP. But if he's a member of the MPP, he must know that his party did a lot of disservice to this nation. He must know that the MPP led Ghana into abyss. We should not even be reminding people of our pains. You came from an election with an electoral defeat of over 1.7 million. At this time, you ought to be doing introspection. You ought to be reflecting on what were the wrongs. At this time, we expect you, on one breath, they are apologizing, on an apology talk. On another breath, they are saying that, you know what, we did everything right, which is which. I can understand that they are going through some emotional, turbulent moments because they want to elect a new flag bearer. But let's not equalize what happened in the past.
The time is running.
No journalist has died. You cannot compare death to dissenting opinion. Yes, under NPP, people were speaking. It didn't mean that everybody was quiet. We were saying that certain things that the government did not feel comfortable with, there was a way they reacted to it. Press freedom, as at 2022, reduced, and Ghana moved from 1st to 10th position. I have the index here. So when we say and when we make some suggestion, we do that in the hope that even we as NDC government, we will learn. So let not people try to reduce the discussion, and you know the evidence, Abronye. Abronye. What? Is it because Abronye is insulting Kennedy Japan for the Baumia campaign that today Abronye is an idol in society whose freedom has been curtailed? What did Abronye do? And did you check who the complainant is in the Abronye case? Did Dr. Zato check? Government had nothing to do with that. In fact, many government communicators, including myself, we were on record to have criticized the decision of the court. You could not do that. Under your government, everything the courts did was sacred. Did you see governments trying to condone that? I mean, those acts which we felt were not in tandem. So Dr. Zato should come back stronger.
Okay.
Now,
TUC.
So the matter of the TUC.
You have only 4 minutes.
I will do justice in 4 minutes. Don't worry.
TUC.
Now to the matter of the TUC. Galamsey is a threat to everybody. And so we in government, we recognize that anybody who wants to join the fight, who wants to add their voice to the fight, must be welcome. And President Mahama is not a beneficiary of Galamsey and illegal mining. So the end of illegal mining does not affect this government in any way. In fact, it goes to our credit. We will add it to the list of the things we are able to achieve, just like President Mahama solved Doomsol. And over the period we have been in office, I can assure you that 9 forest areas, which the MPP claimed were red zones, have been repossessed by this government. 9 forest areas. I can assure you that today, the president, through the amendment of LI 2462, in LI 2501, is saying that take away my powers. I cannot give mining leases and permits to people to mine in forests. Even that, there is a promise for more to be done, that the LI itself will be revoked. So when the TUC says that they want to go for a special meeting and declare, or maybe not strike, but take an action, I want to give TUC the assurance that the government of President John Mahama is not the same as the past government. And that this government is committed not in words, but by our actions in fighting the Galamsey menace. And they should keep faith with the NDC government. President Mahama is a man of integrity. He will not come and lie to you that he will declare a state of emergency at a time when he will be giving mining licenses to his party people. He would not do that. He has even said that no government appointee should be engaged in in legal mining. So not to talk of illegal. He says that if you want to engage in legal mining, bring my appointment letters and then go and engage in whatever business you want to engage in. But having established that point, Roland, it's also important to remind our viewers that on 9th October, the TUC met then President Nanado.
9th October, the last year?
Last year, 2024. Okay. They met Nanado. And the Secretary General of the TUC, Mr. Joshua Ansa, indicated that they were going to suspend their strike that they had threatened if the MPP did not start the fight against Galamsey. Because remember, the MPP left the fight against Galamsey as far back as 2023 because they said we were going into an election year, and in 2020 they had lost many mining areas, which we have even proven to them that is not true. But that was the reason. You had senior members of the party like Ayiwe Friye and Nana Poku coming to say that they would not stop the Galamsey, they will not fight them. But when the TUC met President Nanado, these were the things Nanado promised them. The first one is deployment of additional military personnel, suspension of mining and forest reserve, strengthening prosecution of illegal mining cases, and then call for a national pact on illegal mining. Based on these things, the TUC said they were satisfied that the then government was going to do the right thing, so they will not go on strike. They did not go on strike. So I want to assure my sweet TUC that for all the things that President Akufo-Addo assured them of, we have even enhanced and done it better. Yes, and I'll give you one. At the time the TUC met Nanado, there were no military people deployed in the fight against Galamsey. It was free for all. Today, as I speak to you, there is a NIMO secretariat, that is made up of all security forces that is currently protecting our river bodies and also protecting our forest reserve. So TUC be rest assured that the NDC government is not engaged in a 9-day wonder. Secondly, they said suspension of mining in forest reserve, and then TUC became satisfied. I want to tell them that for us, even the Regulation 3 that gives that would have given the president the powers to actually grant leases for people to mine in forest area, that Regulation 3 does not exist. So the president, as we speak today, cannot give any permits for people to mine. And I think that if the TUC were satisfied, then I think they ought to be satisfied now. They can call for more. Like Oliver Twist, we welcome more and we welcome the pressure. Again, strengthening of prosecution of illegal cases. I can assure the TUC that over 1,400 arrests have been made, not just of the workers. This government is committed at going after the kingpins like Akunta Mining, Wuntumi and the rest. And as we speak, Akunta Mining and others are before courts. And finally, the last thing the PUC and the TUC agreed to was a call for a national pact on illegal mining. Today, President Mahama has engaged civil society. TUC was invited to that engagement. We hear their concern. There will be consistent engagement. But what I can assure them is that unlike the past, no political appointee of President Mahama is engaged in Galamsey. Nobody at Jubilee is a beneficiary. And we are just not doing things in the media. So we are happy to engage the TUC. We are happy to, not just the TUC, but all other civil society organizations. And I can assure them that together and with their support, we will win the fight against illegal mining.
Dr. Zato.
Thank you very much.
What's your reaction to this?
Thank you.
Because wouldn't you say that TUC is only being consistent?
This morning, I really celebrate Beatrice Anna's, what's the name? Selective amnesia. I really celebrate that. And I like the fact that she's making hypocrisy an art form. It's really good for you. It's good for you. Keep doing that. Look, you just had Martin Kibu, and you asked him the question that every rational human being is asking him. For almost 8 years, right here behind me on Key Point, every 8 years, he getting even personal with Nanado. Saying things, some of the things that you cannot print. Never seen anything good about it. For 8 years. Today you are saying here there was no press freedom. That was my and I'm happy you called him out on that hypocrisy. How can you sitting here make it an art, make it a job, make it a profession to sit down here and run down a government like that for 8 years and then you say that there was no press freedom? I like that. We were in this country when the National Communications Officer of the NDC led a movement, led people, and he was singing. Kunana do maya radi kunana maya or say or mano or say or mano. We were here. The same person was singing kuna kud baumia maya radi kud baumia maya. You have a National Communication Officer calling, invoking God to kill the sitting president, to kill the sitting vice president. What is the reward? He's made a CEO of Gold Board today, and you are saying there was no press freedom. What is so look, you sit down here and you look at this and then you begin to understand how difficult your job is. To begin to now tell us that despite all this, despite calling for the death, there were things that people asked for. People were praying, asking for. Dr. Baumia was sick, went out for treatment. People almost asked for his death. Senior government officials were sick, went for treatment. People were celebrating, salivating, hoping and praying openly for them to die. They never died. And then today you had the affronty to come and sit there and say there was no press freedom. The press was gagged. When all this will happen, what did happen? Simple, small. All Obama Pokwa did was repost a picture. Repost something that everybody, a picture, a video that has been in circulation for almost 3-4 years. All he did was repost it. He was picked up. All Abronya said was that he criticized the Inspector General of Police. Abronya was picked up. The whole country came together.
But Abronya himself has been punished, or is going to go through a punishment procedure by the MP.
Can I go ahead? So the point
so his actions clearly were wrong.
Today, as I'm sitting here, what I'm saying is that I like it, and I like the fact that we are going on this tangent, and I like the fact that we are kind of bit to sit here and then try to claim that there's something changed. It's wrong. Anybody who is saying that has an agenda, has a vindictive agenda, and you can go ahead. I have no problem with that. But don't sit down here and try to make it look like everything is honey, everything is honky dory just because of the change of government. Because we are have seen that. We have seen the oppression, we've seen the suppression, we've seen people picked up at night, we've seen common people that I never knew, people that I never heard of, picked up, knocked down, picked up middle of the night, their families crying where they are on the front. I just mentioned Obama Pokwasi. Was he not, didn't they knock down and pick him up? Did they read him his fundamental human rights? How long did it take before he got a lawyer? Is that so? He doesn't have human rights. He's not a human being because he's NPP. He doesn't have human rights. No. Yeah, that money was say so. He doesn't have human rights. He doesn't have fundamental human rights. They shouldn't be respected. Or you are saying that because NDC is power, the human rights of NDC and their activists should not be respected. Is that the point you are making? If you are saying that there are two different types, make that point. But don't sit down here and try to make it look like no, it's not. That is not fair and that is not right. And we shouldn't allow you to chip in governance, to chip press freedom to that level because you were wrong and you shouldn't do that. 3 months to elections, TUC backed at the government of Ghana, threatened to shut down this whole country because of a strike, because of Galamsey. Internationally, that is not done. The trade unions do not trust themselves into competitive elections.
But
their principles, can I make my point? They don't do that.
No, they just issued a statement. So I asked the question, are they not only being consistent?
I'm making, if you just allow me, please, I like you, Alan. They did that. Trade unions almost shut down this country. They had to force the government to sign this thing. Even that, UTAC, my own UTAC, we still went ahead to declare a strike action 3-4 days to elections. I want to start from there. UTAC issued a statement telling the government that by the end of September this year, if the government doesn't declare state of emergency and come on this, UTAC will go on strike. Today, UTAC is on hibernation. At the beginning of the year, since this new government came inside, trade unions, especially the TUC, has been on solid hibernation when it comes to Galamsey. They have been snoring. They've ignored it. We've seen civil society organizations. We've seen the Kanaka Bishops Association. We've seen almost everybody come out against them. But the TUC took a backbench, took hibernation. But even the TUC themselves realize that they cannot continue this sleep. So it's on one hand, when you hear government say we are winning, we are doing what they say, TUC has come out to tell you that all that is not true. TUC has come out to say that. So the question I ask the TUC is, what's your move? Do you have the balls to do what you can do? Or are you just doing it because you realize that everybody is doing it, you're just coming up? TUC, you have a right. You visited water treatment points. What you saw there is completely different from this cherry picking that we are seeing this government official trying to present to us today. They went there themselves. Nobody told them. They went there. They saw the water treatment. And they are telling you that it is not fit for human consumption. Since that time, when TUC was in hibernation, research published by TV3 shown that our cassava, all our legumes are almost not fit for consumption. TV3 has published that to tell us how bad this issue has gotten. Since the time has gone, you were talking about, I'm happy, agricultural mining is being tried. I'm happy, I have absolutely no problem. I've said that a lot of times. I remember, said, I don't care, I don't wait for it. He's been tried. If there's a crime is committed, do it. There's a story on Ghana Web today. My son's gold deals are clean. NDC Abuaka South chairman fired back as critics. That is the NDC Abuaka chairman. You are saying, should they arrest him? Should they investigate him? Why is he still at post? Here was the president who told us that DC is not doing. DC's son is doing Galamsey. Because he's a DE son, Iyoko is not inviting him. Nobody's inviting him. That's okay with that. We also mentioned the woman, the parliamentarian, who was distributing pickups like Bofruit to NDC. And when he was given an award, engaged in all this, and what is happening to her? We were told in this country that the NDC General Secretary and their National Youth Organization were under...
Are you talking about Joanna Jan?
Okay, maybe that's the name. I don't know. We were told that
she engages in Galamsey. Is that the accusation you're making?
We were told that the NDC national organizer and the youth organizer have been under investigation. We've seen how this government does investigation. What is the update on that investigation? Where is the case between for this guy? Where is the case right now? What has happened to it? So you see this again, selective weaponization of the justice system. We once again see that, look, we are trying to make it look like if you are even accused, your name is even mentioned as Galamsey, as NDC. The government created this narrative that because Chairman Wuntumi was not being prosecuted, that was why Galamsey was going on. You've arrested Chairman Wuntumi. If you hear him, you've frozen what he said, he's standing trial. I wish him all the best. Make the laws of this country work. I have absolutely no problem with that. What about the other big fishes we're talking about? What about your national chairman? What about your national youth organizer? Why are they not? What is the update? Why are you not updating us on what is happening?
National chairman?
Sorry, your national organizer. I'm talking about Samin. You know the yes, you know him and you know Abanga. What is the update on that? How can you tell us this, that you are doing this? How come the government has come? And there's one thing that actually, you said that this thing was made worse because of all the licenses Akufo-Addo issued. Yes, it happened. Why is the government not revoking all these licenses? If the government gives you a license, the government can revoke the license. The license belongs to the government.
The licenses are being revoked.
Please, I never heckled you.
You asked the question.
Why haven't you revoked all those licenses? When the Gallant 8 died, we said as a country we need to come around the flag. Have it around the flag movement.
Who did you say was distributing the pickups? You said there's a woman who did and given an award. I'm asking, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about a woman that gave a flag. That was given
an award. And I'm asking you, are you saying that woman is engaged in galamsey?
I'm saying that.
Because you're making that accusation.
I've not made any accusation. What I'm saying is that there are certain members of the NDC who need to be investigated because of their involvement in gold mining. I'm saying they need to be investigated to know whether they are engaged in galamsey or not. They need to be investigated. But there's one thing I'm saying. Part of the reason why this government is dilly-dallying with galamsey is because the price of gold is all-time high. And galamsey gold is making it to the national gold stock. And we are getting a lot of money from gold. So if you look at it invariably, the government of Ghana is funding galamsey because the government of Ghana is buying part of the gold the government is buying is coming from.
What do you make of the argument in relation to that? No,
Beatrice. He has made a statement against government. Let me put on record.
You won't put anything on record. You are not the host here. If you put on record, need to put on record. I'm also saying that gold buys from licensed officers. But where the licensed officers buy from?
Yeah, go ahead.
But the point is that we must also let that to understand that she cannot be intimidating the woman.
Oh, man.
Oh, come on. You're sitting down here. Somebody saying things. No. All of a sudden, somebody saying things like, Solomon, this is how we talk about
Solomon, what's your reaction to all this? The TUC is only being consistent, right?
We're dealing with a very seasoned government.
The TUC is only being consistent, aren't they?
The two of them.
That's a very seasoned communicator.
Of course, but I'm afraid maybe there will be
Solomon, I don't beat women, and I've never beaten a woman.
The truth of the matter is that
you don't listen.
Solomon is full of mischief.
TUC, they are not consistent. That is my problem.
Why not?
You know, last year, it's good that I'm not dead, and you are also not dead. You were the one asking the questions. When some of us were fully supporting them that the much awaited strike, nationwide strike that they had given us the indication they would be embarking on, they needed to do it. You were here. They chickened out last minute based on the flimsy excuse. And some of us said, look, we have known this TUC under the days of Apiaje and Eduamankwa. This cannot be a correct TUC. Some of us called for the disbandment of this TUC because they were not making any progress in this country. Now, when UTAC, I'm happy Zato brought the idea of UTAC. When UTAC Legon, was it Legon that said they would go on strike? That Professor Jambo led that invasion. Go and see insult. In fact, on various UTAC campuses, and you know UTAC is now divided into MPP and NDC lecturers. I can tell you without any equivocation that about 99% of NPP lecturers voted against that strike, including Zato. And I've told him before that he voted against that strike. That UTAC had no business whatsoever going on that strike. And he has confirmed it that as TUC, you do not enter into politics during election year to affect election outcome.
So you think they should have taken that action?
They should have taken it. They should have taken it. It doesn't matter which... where
they should have backed down.
Absolutely. We are building a nation. What has it got to do with elections? If by going on strike, a party will lose, so be it. But they did that. My concern with this whole galamsey is that by the end of this administration, I want to see the water bodies very clean and clear. That is my only objective. I'm not interested in whether or not you use mask, chemos, I want to see the water bodies clean. But you can also discuss this without questioning the integrity of the TUC itself. Now, they have been able to visit various galamsey sites. Based on what evidence are they comparing what they saw this time around with? Because the last time you were not at the site, so you couldn't have estimated or determined how degraded the environment was. You are not comparing to anything. That is why I don't take them serious. Look, we have called for the revocation of the LI 246.
The movement for change.
The movement for change. And
tomorrow you become a political party.
Once we launch our political party, we will begin to offer constructive criticism to this government. You are saying you are going to go. It has to. There should not be any other explanation to it because we called for it.
Revocation.
Yes, and I remember my sister B and I in opposition, we consistently said it had to be revoked, so it cannot change.
Yes, it has not changed.
It should not.
We are very consistent.
You understand? Because you see, that singular act by the president through his ministry, it's a crime against humanity. That forest that hitherto were not allowed to mine in, you decided to bring a law for us to enter. Who will do that? Now, beyond that, we must go after the kingpins and the big fishes. And I'm happy Zato agrees that prosecuting Wontumi must be seen in the national light. Remember that Wuntumi's case started under President Kufuor. Why did we allow him to be walking about freely? Was it because he was doing something that was inuring to the benefit of the party, and so we didn't need to touch him? In any case, I am also for the full-blown investigation of Yamin and Abanga. As well as me, I don't even believe in investigations. As for Professor Fimbo Boating's case, the report, the man is alive. Professor Fimbo Boating is alive. Why don't we do a full, commission of inquiry? Call the man, let us call all those that he asked and put them before cameras for them to answer the questions. If they are found culpable, we prosecute them. Why we did that? The man is alive. We want him to die before we say, oh, Professor Fimbo Boating said this? No way. When Prof issued this report, if you like, call him, the sort of threats on his life, including court cases, the number of court cases he has, just to gag him. But you cannot gag a man that do surgical operations in the heart. You can't. Even heart is able to restore. How much more you?
Mouth.
You understand? So, Galamsey is a serious matter. But granted, this administration is not even doing what you are expecting them to, which I expect them to do more because they have to do more. They have to do more. There is no substitute to that. I have seen what NIMOS is doing. I have gone closer to them. I believe that if they are allowed to work and resources are given to them, mind you, in the SWAL administration, they threw about $200 million into there without any resource. We don't want to have it this time around. We want any penny or city invested in this enterprise yield something substantial to save the people of this country. But because we cannot continue to have a woman have their menstrual cycle shortened, we cannot be giving birth to 3, 4, 5, 6 eyes, 14 legs here and there. That will not be good for us. We cannot see Galamsey take place in the open when security officials look unconcerned. That cannot be, and that is not un-Ghanaian. What we are looking for is that if the gold, by mining the gold, it will destroy the environment. After all, gold is not going to rot. Let it be under the beneath the earth, so that we keep it there until the time that we get the appropriate technology to mine it. Then we can mine it. We still insist that the revocation of licenses must continue. And again, the Minerals Commission must be strengthened to do their monitoring role, so that people that are giving licenses, when they apply for licenses, they present business plan. In the business plan, they show how they will reclaim the lands. Let them have heard the minister, which is a very good plan, he must implement it, that they will begin to let licenses, those that small-scale miners, put forward bonds. So that if you're unable to reclaim the land, they call on the bond to use the money to go and reclaim the land. It's a beautiful thing. What is missing is whether or not it will be implemented. I believe that he has to implement it so that this country will move forward in a very uniform way and rid ourselves. Look, if you go to the World Gold Council's website, Ghana is sit in terms of gold production. You can't tell me that the extent of destruction of the environment is is very much familiar with China, which is the leading gold producing country. You cannot say same for Russia, which is the second leading producer of gold. You can't say same for Canada, which is the third leading producer of gold. You can't say same for United States of America. You can't say same for Mexico. Why should we say so about Ghana? And we continue to
as in they are in the top rankings.
Yeah, in the top rankings.
But their environment are not destroyed.
Yes, so there is a responsible way of mining. And until such a time that we get to that responsible way, we must not be issuing our licenses as cakes. to party apparatchiks and then people that have the links with people in authority. That is the only way out that we can deal with. But Zato and his people must understand that when we are talking about the issues of Galamsey, for now they must shut up, and then we will deal with the issues as a party comes out, and then take on this administration, because in 2028 we will give them a match of their lives.
Okay. What time are you launching?
9 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, Coconut Grove, all roads lead there. Journalists must come in their numbers, but we don't give solely. We only give words of encouragement.
Okay, what's the name of the party, so that we'll be promoting the party?
We are unveiling it
as part of our civic
you
responsibility.
you want me to do the unveiling this morning? Roland, why are you doing that?
All right, Solomon also, thank you very much as well.
But let me just conclude and assure them that government has currently revoked over 400 licenses. So when Dr. Zato says, just revoke all the licenses.
Why only 400? You said they were more than 400. Why? No. That's because
you are a
the only reason today, yes, thank God you did. Fitch today is reporting that the reason why we are not doing this is because gold prices are distant.
No, you
Galamsey money is the one that gold board is selling, and because of the high prices of gold, government is not willing to end the Galamsey. If the Galamsey gold was not the one finding the gold board, by now we have ended this. Yes, I will stop. Go ahead, do your opinion. I will stop.
Find out from you.
No, don't find out from me.
No.
You are not finding.
I want to find out from you.
When was in government, what did he say?
Your mics are off. Gentlemen,
you come and sit here and
your mics are off. Gentlemen, your mics are off. All right.
Did he resign because of Galamsey?
All right. Okay, gentlemen, your mics are off. Gentlemen, your mics are off. All right. All right. So let me read a couple of comments so far. Yes, because your sound is coming through my mic. So, all right, okay. I have some comment. Let me quickly. Hey, Dr. Zato, relax. Dr. Zato, relax. You are too agitated and animated.
I'm not agitated. No. See, that's the point.
Lawyer Kakre Samuel. Good morning to you. I hope you're well. He says my friend Dr. Zato is running away from the essential point of lawyer Martin Pebu's analogy that it was only exceptionally bold spirits who could criticize Akufo-Addo and feel safe. And then I also have this one from May. And May says that remind Dr. Zato that the gold board right here through Sami Jemfi debunked that assertion that they buy gold from Galamseyers.
So what happens to all the Galamsey gold?
And then also Abdullah says I should give you a cup of tea for him to relax. He's too agitated this morning.
I think so. I think you should be serving the guest tea.
I don't want tea. I'm fine.
And then
give Beatrice. Don't give me tea. I don't want tea.
And then Abiba Asoma of the Ghana National Association also says I'm enjoying the program this morning, and it looks like it is a hot session. Wednesdays are always hot, and fortunately we have Beatrice to also come in hot as well. So we have one hot lady, two hot gentlemen. And Prince Daniel York, watching us from the UK, says, Paparu, the oral, we are watching keenly. That's all I can say for today. And congratulations in advance to Solo and Alan Chamanting for tomorrow. 9 a.m. we are told, the Coconut Grove Hotel,
Grove, yes.
Or Regency Hotel. Okay.
Coconut Grove.
And... okay. Now this one is coming from Mama Warrior Sogliste, who says, don't... Okay. So I shouldn't mention... Okay. Then I have more comments coming through. Nani Al-Sapong. Nani Al-Sapong too is part of the new party?
Absolutely.
Okay. Nani Al-Sapong of the new party to be outdoor tomorrow. Movement for Change today.
A lot of MPP people.
So on the eve of the outdooring of the new party by the Movement for Change, its leading member, a political aide to Alan John Kojo Chamanting, Nane Al-Sapong, says, Roland, it's unfortunate the line Dr. Zato is going. Is he by any means endorsing the politics of insult by Abronye? 2, He's telling Ghanaians, Galamsey started in January 2025 and our water bodies destroyed in about 10 months. 3, tell Dr. Zato there's a difference between owning a concession site or land and being involved in Galamsey. The lady he mentions owns concessions and may be involved in small-scale mining, but Wuntumi has been captured clearly by several reports to be involved in Galamsey and asked for the pickups. Dr. Baumia is captured in his own testimony to have distributed.
You have reminded me of the petition, eh? The OSP must not be sleeping on the job.
Dr. Baumia distributed 300 pickups.
He said it. He said he gave more than, not even 300, more than, brand new.
It's serious.
Navara. I don't know whether that will have one.
I don't know how many did Haaland distribute.
And then Zilis Dwayne says that
Haaland didn't distribute any pickups.
Zilis Dwayne from the UK said, I'm just enjoying today and just look at this stellar performance by lawyer Beatrice Anang, mixing it with the gang-ho men, Zato and Solomon.
It's a female version of herself.
Female version of Zato and then
Please, I can
Solomon.
never be the female version of Dr. Zato. I beg you.
This one is coming from Felicia. Felicia says that lawyer Beatrice just asked my question today because I wonder why Dr. Zato comes to the show in the name of so-called be an analyst or a neutral person. He's an NPP. Oh, but his posters are out there. He doesn't deny it that he contested Sisala East. I don't know why you every week you keep reminding.
From there. He will go to London.
Why he wants to contest.
Announce
We
that you're
encourage
going to
him.
London. No, you go. I will be there.
And then Moses says I should encourage you, be appearing more often among men.
I've told them.
And not only women.
Please tell the people in charge of the placement, Peter and Samia, they have been doing the placement.
They have been placing.
Yes, I'm a very obedient party member. Anytime they place me,
They should be bringing.
Okay, gentlemen.
We can be boxing you.
Thank you. Well, if you want to look smart and fashionable, you have to make sure that you visit any Woodin boutique nationwide, and you have to do that today. Because Woodin is offering an amazing collection of authentic African fabrics, all ready to wear, all coming in beautiful designs and colors for men and women. Now, with Woodin, you get to be creative and versatile with your design. So you get to be confident and also get to show off how truly African you are in their designs. And, well, they're telling you just in case you want to grab any of their designs or fabrics, you have to go to a Woodin boutique near you today and choose from their variety of trendy products, all to complement your unique style. So follow them across social media, get the latest updates of what stock they have, the designs they have as well. So go search on social media. Woodin Fashion is where we have to bring this discussion to a close. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll be up with the latest sports headlines. Again, we have cash out. It goes where Shoko star 439 hash. Choose option 2. Increase the number of tickets you have. Become one of those lucky winners. As always, you get to be lucky as you get to stay. And now, Nelson Akotia, you sent me a message. And, well, sorry I couldn't read it. But we're taking a break. We'll be right back.